Chapter 1567. Long Fei S. Fury. Chapter 1567. Long Fei S. Fury. Tons and tons of critical strikes landed on the defensive formation. The power was incalculable. This kind of scene was even more terrifying than the end of the world. The Hell Gate disciples under the formation were all terrified and didn't even dare to breathe loudly. The 8 Supreme Elders also frowned as the godly powers within their bodies gushed out crazily. This holy tactical method was condensed from the combined power of all 8 of them, and at the same time, it was consuming their divine power. "Big brother!" An elder suddenly shouted, "The energy is too great. If this goes on, our divine power will be used up." "Sacrifice!" The boss grimaced in fear. His hands formed a seal, and a drop of vital blood flew out from his finger. It flew into the air and exploded. At this moment, buzz! A purple sword rose up from the blood essence, God power surging around it. He released them one by one. Streak after streak of divine power surged into the holy tactical method. At the same time, the other 7 people formed seals at the same time, drawing out the authentic artifact's blood essence and summoning it out. Once the 8 authentic artifacts were activated, their divine power would surge, replacing the divine power the 8 people had used up. At this moment, the holy tactical method that was originally trembling and cracking returned to its normal state. The 8th, 9th, and 10th nuclear bombs were shot down from the sky. Formation. Impregnable steadfast. He had blocked it all. Boom. With a loud noise, the powerful aura of the nuclear explosion was suppressed by the power of the holy tactical method, which started to shine with a golden light. It was extremely dazzling, as if it was a big boss shining with golden light. He blocked it. Ha ha ha. "Long Fei, come at me. With just you? Is he even fit to be arrogant with our Hell Gate? Is he even worthy to fight with our Hell Gate? Ha ha ha." In front of the 8 gods, just tremble, ha ha ha. The moment he blocked it, the disciples within the Hell City all let out long exhales, and the stifling feeling in their hearts was swept away. If such a power could not break the holy tactical method, then what kind of power could Long Fei possibly have left to do so? No need to worry anymore. The 8 great elders revealed complacent expressions and said, "Long Fei, what other abilities do you have? Bring it all out." Completely disdainful, Long Fei himself was stunned. He secretly smacked his lips. Fuck, not even 10 nuclear bombs could hit. Damn. The defense of this holy tactical method is truly extraordinary. Long Fei really did not expect that the 10 nuclear bombs could not break the array. He had completely muttered the power of divine power. Looking at that golden holy tactical method, Long Fei moved through the air and landed above the Hell City. After looking at the formation carefully, he realized that there wasn't a single hole or crack line. It was truly invulnerable. "Long Fei, come again. Use all of your abilities." An elder sneered. "Aren't you awesome? Aren't you arrogant? Aren't you arrogant and conceited? If you have the guts, break this formation." Boom. Why isn't there any more explosions? Ha ha ha. The other elders laughed loudly. The disciples of the Hell Gate also laughed. Long Fei's eyes turned sinister. His hand touched the holy tactical method, and in that moment, a boom resounded. The instant they touched each other, the backlash of the god power sent his body flying out into the air. The joints of his arms were fractured, creating an incomparably powerful force. Bam! Thousands of miles away, Long Fei steadied his body, swallowed a few supreme healing pills consecutively, and healed his right arm. His heart sank a little. What a powerful strength! It really was fierce. He had never felt such a powerful divine force before. This was the power released by the 8 divine level powerhouses, so it was naturally extremely ferocious. Moreover, it was still 2 floors. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Seeing Long Fei being flung out, all of them laughed loudly. Long Fei, come again. You don't even dare to approach me anymore, do you? Let's see how you continue to act so arrogantly. Lame duck, come. After being sent flying in one move, everyone began to relax even more. Long Fei was not good enough. He could not break the formation, and he did not have enough strength. Holy SH *T. I don't believe it. Long Fei's heart hardened as his anger ignited. His body once again appeared above the Hell City as he laughed coldly. You want me to break the formation? You want to enrage me? 8 old dogs. If you have the ability, then come out. It's great to hide in the dog hole like a cowardly turtle, isn't it? Come out if you have the guts. Come out if you have the guts. If he tried again, the result would still be the same. He would fail again. Long Fei had not cultivated God power, so he could not break the formation. Unless he used 100% of the Golden Cudgel's power, it would be too wasteful to use it to break the formation. Using colorful fairy dragon's power was a waste. The 8 Grand Elders' faces changed. Long Fei continued to scold. You dare talk to me like that? Just you 8 old dogs, get out here for me. What do hiding in a dog hole count for? Is the 9 secret warrior family really trash like you? He started cursing furiously. The 8 Grand Elders' expressions changed as they shouted out loudly, Long Fei, shut your mouth. I will kill you. Ah! Even though they were all several hundred years old, when had they ever received such an insult? Their hearts were completely unable to contain their fury. Long Fei acted as if he was as lowly as he could possibly be and said, Come, you 8 old dogs, come out and bite me. He thought to himself, as long as you guys dare to come out, I will definitely kill you all. Intimidation? Who didn't know? If they wanted Long Fei to break through the array and use his power, Long Fei would use the method of goading them to come out. As long as the array was closed, Long Fei would instantly rush in. The Great Elders suddenly shouted, Calm down. Don't be enraged by him. His voice was filled with an intimidating aura. The other 7 people slightly calmed down. Big brother, do you need to be afraid of him? That's right. We should just close the holy tactical method. With our cultivation, killing him will be an easy task. Yeah, big brother, when have we ever been humiliated like this? The leader of the great clan elder smiled and said, What are you guys so anxious about? We don't even need to act against him. He doesn't even have the right to die at our hands. And then the great clan elder revealed a cold smile and said, Long Fei, you aren't going to break the formation, right? Ha ha. Men, bring those 2 men out. As soon as he finished, Yi Jingyun and Nangong Yen were dragged out. Long Fei's gaze darkened, his fists clenching tightly. The great elder laughed coldly. If you don't break the formation, they are going to die soon. How dare you? Long Fei was furious, killing intent burst out. Why wouldn't we dare? The great clan elder moved his idea, and a ray of sword chi pierced through Yi Jingyun's chest, causing him to bleed profusely. Yi Jingyun did not participate. Looking at Long Fei, who was in the air, he said, Yong, Master Long, quickly leave us alone. Then the great clan elder looked at Nangong Yen and smiled proudly. She is your woman, right? The sword chi moved. Long Fei was furious. Chapter 1568. The first level, break it for me. Chapter 1568. The first level, break it for me. Boom. The flames of fury burned crazily. God's war beasts. Buzz. When the God's war beasts was summoned, Long Fei moved without hesitation. Fitted soul. Boom. The God's War Beast's powerful body instantly merged with Long Fei's body. God's War Hammer. Bang! High up in the air, a strike of the hammer smashed down. A bolt of lightning streaked down from the sky, and the God's War Hammer smashed heavily onto the array formation. The formation lowered slightly, and creaking sounds could be heard. However, he just lowered his head slightly and did not break. Instead, at this moment, a strong rebound force suddenly attacked him. Boom, boom, boom. A series of explosions resounded in the air. Whoosh! The God's War Hammer flew out of his hands from the impact, and Long Fei's body also retreated explosively in an instant. His internal organs tumbled, and he could not endure any longer as a mouthful of blood burst out from his mouth. Ha ha ha! Ha ha ha! The 8 Grand Elders all laughed loudly. Isn't that great? Ha ha! Long Fei, come, look at your brother, look at your woman. Come again, if you don't break the formation. The 2 of them will die right in front of you. Ha ha ha! Nangong Yen had always been strong, but now that she was completely broken down, she started crying loudly, Long Fei, don't, please go, quickly go, don't worry about us. He was crying his heart out. He had never cried like this for anyone before. Yi Jingyan also shouted loudly, Yo, Master Long, let's go. The great elder laughed complacently and said, Long Fei, do you see? Your woman is telling you to leave quickly. Ha ha ha! Looking at her face, it really is lively. This sort of supreme beauty should be shared by everyone. At this time, several Hell Gate disciples immediately said, Master, please bestow her to us. I will definitely let her know what it means to be a man. Ha ha! A few rough-looking men swallowed their saliva and stood beside Nangong Yen as if they were hungry wolves. Long Fei's teeth were about to shatter. His eyes were completely bloodshot. What he hated the most in his life was for others to use his loved ones to threaten him. Whoever dares to touch a single hair on her head, I will definitely make him regret coming to this world. Long Fei said with an extremely gloomy tone. The more furious Long Fei became, the happier the 8 Grand Elders became. Come on. Do not stop the tempo. Continue breaking the formation. Long Fei, either you kneel on the ground and kowtow to us right now, begging us for mercy, or we release your woman, or you continue breaking the formation, and we like to see you torture yourself. It's too satisfying. Ha ha! An elder laughed complacently. The current Long Fei was like a fish on a chopping block, waiting to be slaughtered. They can do whatever they want. Long Fei, quickly leave us alone. Leave the Chaos Realm, leave this place, and never come back. Nangong Yen said loudly. The current Chaos Realm was no longer the previous Chaos Realm. Right now, the Chaos Realm had completely fallen into the hands of the Zhan clan, including the Tower Question of God. In the entire Chaos Realm, there was no one who could contend against Zhan clan, an existence that could cover the sky with one hand. Long Fei erupted with power of Blood God. With a flip of his right hand, he grabbed the falling Heaven Marshal battle hammer. Rumble! The sky exploded. A huge force exploded out. Golden light shot in all directions as the holy tactical method trembled slightly. The 8 Grand Elders trembled, but they were not worried because the stronger Long Fei became, the stronger the recoil would be. Long Fei would be blown into smithereens. The powerful force rebounded once again, but, however, Long Fei completely ignored it, and once again struck down with his powerful strength. A burst of power. The golden light spread out once again. The powerful anaphasic force attacked again. Uffed, blood sprayed onto the formation, and the 8 elders began to laugh loudly. Continue, continue. Don't stop the tempo. Ha ha ha. It was also at this time. The rough and strong men had already taken off their clothes, surrounding Nan Gong Yen, all of them gulping down their saliva. Yi Jingyun was resisting crazily, but it was completely useless. Nan Gong Yen did not pay attention to herself as she looked to the sky. Her eyes were blurry from crying, and she continuously shook her head and said, "No, no, no." Long Fei struck down once again. He was once again sent flying. "Boss, if this goes on, you'll die." "Let me out. Let me out." "Boss, let us out. It's just a mirror ray formation. I don't believe that he's that strong." Bloody Bull of Underworld and Tong Tian Beast said anxiously in the Warpet space. The colorful fairy dragon said lightly, "This is the holy tactical method. Your cultivation is only at the semi-realistic realm. If you go out, you won't be able to break it." "Boss Shenlong, what about you?" "Go out and help a bunch of bosses." "That's right. You are the divine dragon of the divinity. You can definitely break this formation." The colorful fairy dragon's eyes slightly closed and said, "There are some things that he has to face and shoulder on his own. If he can't even solve this little problem, how will he be able to carry the banner of the Dragon Clan? The growth and suffering of a person are inseparable. If Long Fei could not even pass through this hurdle, how could he carry the Dragon Clan's banner? How could he lead the Dragon Clan to rise to prominence? It was not that the colorful fairy dragon did not want to help, but he wanted Long Fei to release even more of his potential. He didn't want to become Long Fei's reliance. "Kid, you have to understand my painstaking efforts." The colorful fairy dragon said to himself. However, but Bloody Bull of Underworld and Beast King Question of God did not understand. The Bloody Bull of Underworld shouted, "Shenlong, if you don't help, we will." Boom! The Bloody Bull of Underworld broke through the restriction and rushed out from Long Fei's body. The war beast charged out, roaring loudly, "Boss, let's go together." Boom! The Bloody Bull of Underworld picked up the clock of hell and directly knocked on the door. The Beast King Question of God's fists punched out heavily. The God's warhammer in Long Fei's hands flew out like a torrential storm. Every time it was sent flying, it would attack once again. Every single time, the 8 elders would laugh loudly at him. "Ha ha ha! Ha ha ha! Long Fei, hurry up, ha ha ha!" I've said it before, we don't even need to kill him ourselves. He'll die by our own hands. This kind of death is too tragic. Ha ha ha! The great elder laughed. More than an hour passed. Long Fei continued to attack, but his body suddenly retracted, and he shouted, "Spiritual warriors, combine! Titan King, lend me your anchor." In the blink of an eye, Long Fei released the God's War beasts and instantly fused with the spirit beast that exploded from Zhan Tianlong's body. At the same time, he also smashed down with the Titan anchor, catching it instantly. This was where Long Fei had been attacking for more than an hour. Open for me. Chapter 1569. Boss, let's do it. Chapter 1569. Boss, let's do it. The anchor clicked. The fate soul of the Titan King moved. The power of the spiritual warriors exploded out. Rumble! Walala! The sound of a glacier collapsing could be heard, as if the sky was being split open. The first layer of the formation was instantly shattered into pieces. The entire Hell City was shocked. Many people's hearts sank as their faces paled. The faces of the 8 elders changed as well. He actually managed to cultivate to the spirit body fitted soul technique. Just how did he cultivate it? A level of holy tactical method actually broke the formation. The great clan elder's eyes turned sinister as he looked at the second layer of array in the sky. Seeing Long Fei carrying the gigantic divine anchor on his shoulder, his gaze trembled, and said, "Long Fei, continue." At the same time, the divine spark in his right hand flipped and formed a seal with one hand. He used that divine spark to link the 8 authentic artifacts. Buzz. The 8 authentic artifacts were linked together, and a thick stream of divine power was extracted from the divine spark and poured into the formation. The array formation on the second floor became different. Divine power, an even more vigorous divine power burst forth. The golden light was dazzling. The divine power they had gained in the beginning had truly been their own. Now, it had been extracted directly from their divine sparks. It must be understood that the birth of a divine spark required the tempering of the energy of heaven and earth. It contained too much power. The great elder's eyes turned vicious, and he shouted, "Come again! Let's see if you can break it." Extreme displeasure. The fitted soul of the spirit body was Jean Clan's secret technique. It was definitely not taught to outsiders, and even normal elders did not have the qualifications to train in it. The fitted soul spirit body technique was related to the secrets of the 9 secret warrior family. It was related to the 9 secret borders' secret. If this secret was revealed, the Jean clan would be in big trouble and might even be in danger of being annihilated. After all, there were many divine, level powerhouses' souls that were under their control. If the descendants of these powerhouse knew about this, Jean clan would be in deep trouble. Long Fei must die. He had to die. Long Fei let out a deep breath and said, "If I can break through your first layer, then I can break through your second layer." He retracted his aura. Long Fei instantly rushed forward and smashed the Titan anchor in his hand against the array formation. The divine anchor contained a trace of the Tai Tan King's power. He was incomparably powerful. Smashing into the formation trembled. The 8 authentic artifact also sunk slightly. The faces of the 8 elders changed. In that instant, the power of the 8 elders was released. Buzz. Buzz, buzz. 8 divine powers poured into the formation. Boom. The formation that was trembling instantly stabilized, and the 8 great divine powers formed a strong backlash that shot straight into Long Fei's mind. The idea exploded. Long Fei's body was in a mess. The fusion of his spirit body and war beast was about to be jolted out of his body. It was extremely uncomfortable. After spitting out a mouthful of blood, Long Fei's face turned pale white. The anaphasic force in the first level was not as strong as it was in the second level, which was completely different. Furthermore, the power of the 8 great elders was able to attack his mind the moment Long Fei came into contact with the formation. This was a type of idea attack. Long Fei could not block it. "Come on, brat, come back for lousy." Ha ha ha. A few elders grinned and laughed complacently. "Not attacking, right? If you don't attack that woman of yours, then an elder looked at the rough men and said, "Attack." They wanted Long Fei to make a move. The reason why he wanted to exhaust Long Fei was so that he could die in his hands. Watching Long Fei torture himself was like a type of enjoyment to him. Slash. With that, one of the rough man's ripped apart Nangong Yan's outer clothes, grabbed onto that piece of cloth, and placed it on his nose to smell it, then said, "Wow, so fragrant." Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Swish. With another sound, another piece of Nangong Yan's clothes were ripped off, revealing her white, flowery skin. Nangong Yan tried to continue resisting, but the power of her body was completely suppressed by the seal, and even that evil energy had been sealed. Yi Jingyun kept on blocking, but his strength was also blocked by the seal. Before he could even collide with the elder, he was sent flying by a big-sized man with a kick. Then a dozen or so Hell Gate disciples pressed him onto the ground and gave him a good beating. Trash. Call your master Long Fei to continue. Feeling good. Ha ha. Nan Gongyan's tears continued to flow, his eyes never leaving them as he looked at Long Fei and shook his head. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about me. Quickly leave. Long Fei, I beg you, please leave. A chi sound was heard. Slash. The dress was torn, leaving only her underwear. Her snow-white skin was completely exposed. Each and every one of those rugged men looked as if they had just eaten Wei Ge, and each and every one of them was incomparably excited. Nan Gongyan's tears were about to dry as she shouted loudly, "Let's go, let's go!" She didn't want Long Fei to see this scene. Her heart was dead silent. She didn't want Long Fei to see everything that had happened. She pleaded. The 8 great elders laughed complacently. Long Fei, to be able to see your own woman being toyed with by so many men, isn't that great? Ha ha ha. Continue. If you want to save your woman, then continue attacking the formation. The 8 elders were incomparably delighted. Even though they were separated by the formation, they could feel the rage radiating from Long Fei's body, and could even feel the extremely strong killing intent. However, the more Long Fei acted this way, the happier they became. Come on, you dog, you think you can oppose my Zhan clan? You think you're qualified to fight with Zhan Wushuang for a woman? Are you even worthy? Ha ha. Long Fei was furious. With the scarlet-colored gas on his body, the magic body was completely in a berserk state and crazily attacked again and again. At the same time, the 8 elders attacked his mind again and again, his sea of consciousness. Ah, your father, your ancestors. Long Fei was furious. He attacked frantically, but no matter how he attacked, his strength could not cause any damage to the holy tactical method. Moreover, right now, his spiritual sense was in chaos. He could no longer stay calm. Long Fei was like a wild beast frantically attacking. No way. No way. It still won't work. F***CK. Long Fei looked at Nan Gongyan as he continuously retreated and looked at the tears on her face. I don't care. The idea moved and linked to the golden cudgel. With a flip of his right hand, he summoned out the golden cudgel. The golden cudgel shimmered with a dense and boundless aura of energy. This was the gift he left for Zhan Wushuang. But now, he couldn't care about it anymore. Just when he wanted to activate the golden cudgel's energy. Buzz. Wang. After a series of buzzing sounds, 8 figures stood in 8 different directions. Li Yuanba said, "Boss, let us go." Chapter 1570, The New Power of 8 King Kong. Chapter 1570, The New Power of 8 King Kong. As soon as the voice fell, the 8 bodies moved. A link of power instantly appeared on their bodies, just like how the 8 great elders used their authentic artifacts' power to link together. It was the same for 8 King Kong. This was a summoning of heavenly tribulation. Every person in the 8 King Kong had different attributed strength, so their cultivation would also be different. The fusion of their powers would produce a strong resonance. This resonance was able to shake the world, and was also known as the gods' suffering force. Rumble! 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 Explosions were heard in the sky one after another. It was incomparably powerful. Many of the disciples in the Hell City knew about the 8 King Kong under Long Fei and immediately shouted, "Master, it's Long Fei's subordinate. It's the 8 King Kong. Their powers are very special. Everyone's strength is different." Not waiting for them to finish, the great elder disdainfully sneered and said, "Even Long Fei is not his opponent, so what if he's a small fry?" This is a boundary of the holy tactical method. It's useless no matter who comes. And the holy tactical method was only one of their strengths. It was still far from being their full strength. They did not even put the 8 King Kong in their eyes, and the 8 of them revealed a look of contempt and laughed. Long Fei, if you can't do it, how can the trash under you do it? Ha ha ha. Hurry up, look at your woman. She's almost stripped naked. Ha ha. The 8 elders began to laugh delightedly. It was also at this time a deep vortex appeared in the sky as the clouds within hundreds of thousands of kilometers were swept up layer after layer until they were as deep as 9 layers. In the center of the vortex, it was like the eyes of the heavens. The eye was staring straight at the holy tactical method on the Hell City. At this moment, Li Yuanba roared out, "Let them have a taste of what it feels like to be crushed." Boom. Buzz. The energy of the 8 people surged. Entering the vortex, the energy absorbed by the eye of the vortex suddenly changed, turning into a fiery red color. In that instant, boom, it was like a beam of light from outer space striking down. Was this divine retribution? Very strong. It was 10 times stronger than the power they released last time. In just over a year's time, they were all much stronger, and each of them was different. Rumble. The light beam struck the holy tactical method. The great clan elder laughed coldly and said, "It's useless. The stronger you are, the stronger the anaphasic force is." Ha ha ha. Just as he said, the stronger the attack, the stronger the backlash. How could the holy tactical method be so easily broken? When the light beam struck the array boundary, the array formation did not even budge an inch. "Can't I?" Long Fei frowned. He held the golden cudgel tightly. At this moment, the 8 great elders and the disciples of the Hell City were all laughing maniacally. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. If you don't even move, then I thought your 8 King Kong was too strong. Too weak, simply 8 pieces of trash. Ha ha ha. Taste the feeling of being crushed. Is this the legendary taste of being crushed? I can't laugh anymore. Can you be any more funny? Long Fei, you're a piece of trash, and your subordinate is a piece of trash. Ha ha. He didn't move at all. How could this be? It was obvious that the formation was very strong, but there was no change at all. There were no signs of it breaking. The 8 elders were about to die from laughter. He was as pleased as he could be. This caused Long Fei to feel even more unhappy. He was moved and said, "Yuanba, you guys." Just as Long Fei was about to use the golden cudgel's energy, a strange scene occurred. The energy that was being devoured by the holy tactical method was completely absorbed by them. Moreover, they were not injured at all, and most importantly, the god power that they had absorbed had gone through a second evolution and exploded out of their bodies. Arhut laughed coldly. "Now is just the beginning." Mocking us. You're laughing at our boss. You are not qualified. Instantly, the 8 people shouted in unison, "Break for me!" Rumble. The power released by the heaven's eyes is no longer fiery red, but the power of the god power absorbed from the holy tactical method, using your power to crush you. The 8 King Kong's transformation this time was completely different. They were different. Boom. The golden light scattered in all directions, as heavy as a thunderbolt. The moment it hit the holy tactical method, the formation instantly cracked, unable to withstand it for even half a second. Walala! Countless cracks appeared in an instant. It had completely collapsed. Moreover, at this moment, the powerful force pierced through the formation and struck down. The 8 elders' faces paled, and they were instantly sent flying backwards. The 8 authentic artifact, as under the formation, along with the divine spark formed by the formation, were all turned into powder. Boom, boom, boom. The sound of the explosion spread out for millions of kilometers, causing the entire Hell City to be in shock. All the disciples were scared pale. Holy tactical method. Instant kill. Break. It was also at this moment 8 King Kong descended like a war god from the sky. Buzz. 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 They all landed on the ground, their bodies burning, their auras filled with rage. The 8 of them looked at the 8 Grand Elders and bellowed, "Are you the only ones bullying my boss? Come, I'll kill you." Li Yuanba's aura exploded. Boom! The giant spirit axe exploded out of thin air. The sarcophagus on its back shook, and all the muscles on its body moved. It bulged, and its entire body was filled with the pure energy of an explosion. The giant spirit axe pointed at the great clan elder and shouted, "Old thing, give me your life." The other 7 King Kong were the same. Their hearts were filled with incomparable rage. They were not happy that Long Fei had been forced to such a state. However, without waiting for them to make a move, Long Fei's silhouette moved, landing down, and said faintly, "All of you stop." 8 King Kong was stunned. Li Yuanba said, "Boss, give these fellows to us." Chun Tianfei shouted, "We will definitely teach him how to conduct himself." Bullying our boss. Have you asked us? Thinking about how Long Fei was almost driven mad, they felt extremely displeased and wished that they could stomp the 8 great clan elders to death. Long Fei grinned coldly and said, "They are mine." Immediately, Long Fei was furious. His eyes turned sinister as he looked at the shivering Nan Gong, Yen, his heart bleeding. Bring it on. 100 layers of energy explode. Chapter 1571, Beating You Can't Get Up. Chapter 1571, Beating You Can't Get Up, explode for me. No matter what, he started with enlargement stroke. The main artifact that had 100 levels of energy had originally wanted to leave it for Zhan Wushuang, but right now, he couldn't tolerate it anymore. He had already been unable to endure it when the second level of the holy tactical method was unable to be broken, but it just so happened that the 8 King Kong appeared, causing Long Fei to pause slightly. The current him, heavily injured, it was simply impossible to win against the 8 divine level powerhouse S. Furthermore, compared to Zhan Tianlong and the others, who were slightly stronger, Long Fei could feel it. Right now, what Long Fei wanted to do was to blow everything away. The idea S controlled the golden cudgel, and Long Fei's body seemed to be connected to it. The energy aura on the golden cudgel also seemed to be burning on his body. The power of his entire body was ignited. Long Fei's gaze swept across them as he coldly said, "All 8 of you, attack together." Even if the holy tactical method was broken by the 8 King Kong, even if the 8 King Kong released an extremely powerful force, they would still look down on Long Fei and the others the same way, because they were powerhouse S of the divine level. In the chaos realm, they were the peak, the rulers. It was a god. No one could fight against a god. The great clan elder laughed sinisterly. "Long Fei, do you think breaking a holy tactical method is so impressive? Who do you think you are? In our eyes, you guys are nothing more than ants. Do you understand?" Long Fei's eyes darkened. The qi in his body suddenly exploded. "I understand your grandpa." Shua. It instantly appeared in front of the great elder. Too fast. It was so fast that even the grand elder was unable to react in time. Long Fei slapped down with his palm. It was unstoppable, and his power was extremely dense. Shua. With a single breath, space began to crack apart. Pa! Yi Zichen slapped the great elder hard in the face. The great elder fell to the ground instantly, while half of his old face was red and swollen, and his eyeballs were about to pop out of their sockets. Long Fei shouted, Do you understand? Without waiting for the great clan elder to get up, Long Fei's body sank. His speed was so fast that they could not even see him clearly, and he slapped him again. You understand now? Pa! The great elder's face smashed into the ground, once again, his head bleeding profusely. The two slaps caused stars to appear in his eyes, causing him to be completely stupefied. Big brother! Big brother! The other 7 people shouted in unison. The great clan elder clenched his fists tightly, his teeth chattering loudly. He laid on the ground, laughing sinisterly. Ha ha ha! Ha ha ha! Long Fei, you asked for it. Ah! Boom! Great clan elder roared, and a burst of energy exploded from his body. Following that, he formed a hand seal with one hand and bellowed, "Spiritual warriors, come out!" Buzz! A spirit body was released from his body. It was as if the seal had been released. Thick streams of divine power began to emanate out from his body. They were extremely dense, far denser than the divine power released by the 8 elders. Moreover, it was a lot stronger than the spiritual warriors that exploded from Zhan Tianlong's body. These spiritual warriors were the imprisoned souls of the war god of the 9 secret borders. This spirit body had the strength of a 2-star divine spark, completely different from Zhan Tianlong's 1-star spiritual warriors back then. This power surpassed the 1-star godhood's great elder. Fitted soul spirit body technique. Open it for me. Buzz. A 2-star spiritual warriors forced himself to merge with his body. In that instant, the aura on the great clan elder's body drastically changed, becoming completely different. Long Fei's heart shivered. It's another divine, level spiritual body. It seems that the 9 secret warrior family has controlled a lot of the fallen god's soul. Is fusing with the spiritual warriors that amazing? In front of your father, you are just a shrimp. Boom. The energy from the golden cudgel exploded once again. The moment the great clan elder completely fused the spiritual warriors into his body, Long Fei did the same. Pa! A crisp sound rang out. The great elder was once again slapped to the ground. He was in incomparable pain, and the 3 consecutive slaps caused him extreme discomfort. This discomfort was not physical discomfort, but the discomfort of being insulted in the heart. When did you ever suffer such an insult? Moreover, or was it in a situation where he had merged with the spiritual warriors? Unhappy, his rage overflowed to the heavens. Clenching his fists tightly, the power from his body burst out crazily as he roared out angrily, "Long Fei, I want you dead." Not waiting for him to explode, Long Fei's eyes opened wide. And in the next moment, his eyes turned into eyes like a monkey's, and he slapped his own eyes again. "Die your entire family." Pa! The great elder was once again slapped to the ground. All the power in his body was instantly suppressed, and he could not release even the slightest bit of it. His entire being was like a fool. He didn't understand at all. The spiritual warriors with a 2-star divine spark didn't even have the chance to retaliate in front of Long Fei. How is that possible? Everyone's scalps began to feel numb as they could not believe the truth before their eyes. What was this called? What was this called? Is he crazy? The great elder was so angry that his entire body was trembling. He was so angry that it seemed as if he was going to burn him to death. He roared out loudly, "What are the 7 of you still standing there foolishly for?" Huh! As soon as he finished speaking, Long Fei slapped him again. "Call me your mother." Pa! His face was bruised, and he did not look like a human. His entire body was about to collapse, and it seemed as though Long Fei's slap that fused with his spirit body was going to be blown out. This power! He just wanted to ask, who else could it be? However, Was this even the full explosive power of 100 layers of energy? This was just a tiny bit of power, a battle between the strong. Buzz, buzz, buzz. A string of power exploded as a series of loud sounds exploded. The remaining 7 people instantly released spiritual warriors, all of whom were 2-star divine sparks. This greatly exceeded Long Fei's expectations. 9 secret warrior family. How many secrets were hidden? Tartarus? How many of Powerhouse's souls were still inside? Long Fei was too lazy to think about this. Looking at each and every one of them merging with his spiritual warriors, he laughed. The more powerful and explosive it is, the better the experience will be. Bring it on. Ha ha ha. 8 King Kong moved slightly and said, "Boss." They wanted to make a move. After all, he was a divine-level powerhouse fused with 8 spiritual warriors. They started to worry. Although they were only divine-level powerhouse of the blend FO Godhead, they were absolute peak kings in the Chaos realm, and there was no way for them to fight against them. Could Long Fei do it alone? Long Fei said, "I alone am enough." The Great Elder looked at Long Fei and said, "Long Fei, you will definitely die today." Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei fiercely stomped his foot on the great clan elder's face, bent his body, and said coldly, "Die? Even if you want to die, you will have to die." And then the idea detonated. "Monkey, show them your true strength." Chapter 1572, Great Sage Qi-Tian. Chapter 1572, Great Sage Qi-Tian, Buzz. The flickering light from the golden cudgel vanished. Ding! Do you want to activate 100 layers of energy? Yes, sir. Without the slightest hesitation. Ding! Congratulations to the player, Long Fei, for activating the 100 layers of energy of the main artifact. He has obtained the Great Sage Tactics of the Heavens transformation. Ding! System notification. 3 minutes for Great Sage Tidemark's transformation. The system beep descended. In that instant, Long Fei's body suddenly changed. Transformation. Long Fei was startled. Become a Sun Wukong? So fierce. In the past, he only obtained the power of monkeys of all realms. That power was just one of the Sun Wukong, but directly transforming was different. It was equivalent to possessing all of his strength. Boom! Long Fei instantly turned into a Sun Wukong, his purple gold equipment sparkling, and the golden cudgel in his hands became as agile as a fish entering water. The most important thing was power, strength, Great Sage Tactics of the Heavens, 72 changes. Moreover, what he possessed was not divine strength, but saint force. To a certain extent, saint force was stronger than the god power. What is this? How did it become like this? Boss, aren't you being too cool? Become a monkey? How could it be? Completely stupefied. Even the 8 King Kong was the same. They were a little dazed. They had always known that Long Fei possessed all kinds of special powers. It was the first time they had seen it. Li Yuanba's face was full of excitement as he said, "Mighty, too mighty. Boss, you're too cool." Ha ha ha. The fat Menchen was grinning from ear to ear. This looks really cool. That's awesome. Indeed, all of the disciples were flabbergasted. Watching Long Fei turn into Sun Monkey with their mouths agape, they were all shocked. The Sun Wukong's appearance was naturally extremely handsome. Years of dreams. The first time Long Fei read Journey to the West, he had been fantasizing about when he could become the Sun Wukong. At that time, he definitely wouldn't go to the western sky to gather knowledge. Entering the Immortality Peach garden definitely wouldn't just be picking peaches, but ignoring the 7 fairies. She would definitely go to the Moon Palace to chat with Chang'e about the ideal of life. In short, if he was a Sun Wukong, He would definitely become the king of the three realms and be a force pulled by the wind and lightning. This isn't the world and journey to the west. However, since he had turned into the sun Wukong, then he must turn the world upside down. Otherwise, he would feel bad for himself, and even more so for his dream of being a child. Ha ha ha, ha ha ha. A few elders laughed and said, Long Fei, what power is this? To become a monkey, didn't they say that you are a descendant of the dragon race? So, you are the descendant of a monkey and an animal? Ha ha ha. I'm dying of laughter. The great elder, who was stepped on the ground by Long Fei, let out a loud shout as well. What did you say you turned into? You just had to turn into an animal. Ha ha ha. Long Fei grinned and said, You like to laugh, right? Then let's see if you can still continue laughing. Eat a blow for my old son. Boom. Long Fei instantly retracted his body, held the golden cudgel tightly in his hands, and smashed it towards the great clan elder's head. At this moment, the great clan elder seized this fleeting chance and shouted, You want to kill me? You are not qualified. Boom. He released all his power and instantly dashed out. He had been accumulating his energy to find this chance. As long as he escaped, the 8 of them would be able to join hands and instantly kill Long Fei. You want to leave? You're thinking too much, aren't you? Long Fei sneered. Indeed, if he wanted to leave, the Grand Elder was overthinking it. Long Fei did not hit her with the staff, but his figure disappeared in an instant. Because the Great Elder was able to escape to the heavens by dodging this move, he was very excited. Just you wait, you're going to die soon. However, he wasn't done yet. A person stood in front of him, or to be more accurate, a monkey. It looked at him with a smile. Where do you want to go? Without waiting for the Great Elder to speak, he swung his staff out. Voila! With a loud explosion, space distorted. The golden light hit the Grand Elder's chest and scattered in all directions. Spiritual Warriors was instantly blown out of his body, as if his soul had been beaten out of his body. Puffed. Blood spurted out. His body flew out like a remnant thread. Divine, Spiritual Warriors of a 2-star divine spark. Mocking me? Is the 9 secret warrior family that amazing? Now, does it feel good to ask you? The voice resounded in the air, and Long Fei's figure could not even be seen. The great clan elder had not even landed on the ground when Long Fei swung his staff again. Bam! The great elder's body once again scattered the golden light. Rumble! Save, save, save me! The Grand Elder did not have any leeway to retaliate. He could not even control his own body as he was sent flying. The energy released by the golden cudgel was too strong. The Blend FO Godhead's divine level powerhouse was completely trash in front of its power. The 7 of them watched in a daze. His brain could not react at all. Wasn't this monkey's strength too terrifying? Hearing the Great Elder's cry for help, the 7 of them came to their senses. Immediately, Long Fei, attack! Boom, boom. The 7 of them instantly charged forward. The 7 of them were spiritual warriors who had fused with 2-star divine sparks, so blocking them would be like blocking the 7 layers of an iron wall. However, in this instant, rumble! The 7 of them stood together and tried to block Long Fei's path, but before they could even stabilize themselves, they were instantly knocked down by Long Fei. Boom! Shout! Call me again! The great clan elder was sent flying once again. The golden light surrounding his body was no longer as intense as the previous few times, and all of the power in his body had been scattered by Long Fei. Puffed! The great clan elder spat out another mouthful of blood, staring at the speed that Long Fei could no longer move at. He roared out, Long Fei, you dare to kill me? The 9 secret warrior family will kill all 18 generations of your ancestors. You dare? Before he finished speaking, Long Fei's sinister expression appeared in front of the great clan elder, and he said with a cold smile, "Rest assured, I will definitely exterminate all 80 generations of your ancestors." Die! Boom! This time, the golden cudgel smashed down onto the great clan elder's head. His head was splitting open. The great elder was nailed to the ground like a nail, bleeding from his 7 orifices. The amount of blood on his head instantly decreased as a system notification sounded out. Long Fei didn't care. Instead, he turned around slightly to look at the remaining 7 people, smiled, and said, "First kill. There are still 7 more that can transcend the gods." Hee hee. "Now, it's your turn. I'll play a little trick on you all." The Sun Wukong's idea moved, releasing a holy source, and shouted, "Body-securing technique." Chapter 1573, Slaughtering the City. Chapter 1573, Slaughtering the City, the 72 transformations in Sun Wukong. Immobilized was only one of them. As soon as he finished, the 7 of them were instantly stopped. Their faces were filled with shock. Their eyeballs rolled back and forth, and they were unable to move. Even the 2-star spiritual warriors in their bodies were the same, unable to move at all. It was as if he had seen a ghost. Long Fei's body moved, landing in front of the 7 of them, and asked, "Is 9 secret warrior family that awesome? I will kill the people from your 9 secret warrior family." In that instant, Long Fei's gaze sunk as he replied with a staff, "Boom, boom, boom." It was like beating a hamster. Their bodies were nailed to the ground one by one in midair, leaving only their heads on the ground as their bodies were stabbed underground. Boom. Boom. Long Fei pulled out a few hairs and smiled. "Come. All of you die." 7 hairs, 7 figures descended at the same time, and 7 golden cudgel attacked at the same time. All of them had their heads explode. In that instant, the system beep exploded. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Zhan Clan's 3rd elder, for obtaining 1 billion experience points, 20 million holy source points, and 10 energy values points. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Zhan Clan's 2nd elder, for obtaining 1 billion experience, holy source points, 20,000 points, energy values, 10 points. Ding! Congratulations to player Kong Fei for leveling up. Ding, ding, ding. However, Long Fei was in a very bad mood. Damn, even Zhan Tianlong has 5 billion experience points. You 2 powerhouse who have fused with 2 stars only have 1 billion experience points. Aren't you giving them too much face? Of course. This was because Long Fei had leveled up. Otherwise, these elders would have all had more than 5 billion experience, or maybe even more. However, Long Fei's magic body level had soared, and in a short moment, it had shot up to level 86. It was a complete mess. However, what made Long Fei excited was not the things that the Grand Elders of Battle had dropped, but the feeling of becoming the great sage Qi Tian. He felt like he was looking down on the world with disdain, like a king that had descended to the world. It was a wonderful feeling. This made Long Fei desire the power of the powerhouse even more. The transformed Sun Wukong was disdainful of everything. Whoever came would die. Whoever came would do it. An existence that turned everything upside down. The power of a sovereign. Calmly, it exceeded Long Fei's expectations. It was really strong. Abnormal strength. Long Fei secretly thought, what exactly is the background of this main artifact? It's a main gun at the first stage. It can kill whoever it locks on. The second stage's evolved power is actually Great Sage Qi Tian. How powerful is this? Moreover, what's at the end of him? He's only at the second level of evolution. How many levels have he reached? Long Fei didn't know. He now knew why the dragon race had to bring this item out of the divinity no matter what if they were to die. Because it really could reverse everything. This was still a second-order evolution. What kind of power would he be able to evolve into when he reached a later stage? It was unimaginable. Li Yuanba ran in front of Long Fei with saliva left on his mouth and said with a face full of envy, "Wow, boss, you're too domineering." His eyes gleamed with golden light. Fat Man Chen's eyes were like stars. Saliva was dripping from his mouth. He wanted to touch it, but he couldn't as he was filled with excitement. There was still more than a minute of time before Sun Wukong's end. Long Fei smiled, faintly. "Do you want to take a look at something even more handsome?" Li Yuanba and Fat Man Chen both nodded heavily. At this time, Long Fei moved, boom, boom, boom. Grabbing a handful of hair, he blew them into the air and turned them all into Sun Wukong, the golden cudgel dancing about, more and more ferocious, finally occupying the entire space of the Hell City. A hair on one head, a doppelganger. Countless hairs were on the back of a big monkey, and so many clones were nothing at all. Long Fei moved his body and said, "Slaughter the city." As soon as he finished, the clones that filled the sky rushed out in unison. The 8 King Kong was burning with excitement one by one. Too cool, too cool. Ha ha ha. Boss is mighty. The boss is domineering. It was also at this time that Li Yuanba shouted out, "We will settle the score, slaughter city." Roar. The spirits charged out immediately. The flames of anger in the 8 King Kong were constantly being suppressed by the 3 great forces of the Hell Gate. They were fleeing in all directions like dogs that had lost their homes. Now, they would have to return it in one go. Kill. The giant spirit axe in Li Yuanba's hands trembled and rushed into the crowd. "Back then you squashed us, but now it's our turn." One by one, they rushed out. Long Fei looked at Aoya. Aoya smiled and said, "She needs you more." She looked at Nan Gong, who was hugging his knees and shivering in the distance. Nan Gong, needed Long Fei more at this time, and it was Long Fei's woman, and also Long Fei's brother. She understood Long Fei. After she finished speaking, she also rushed out, charging straight into the group of Hell's disciples. Long Fei walked in front of Nan Gong Yen. Only a thin undergarment remained on Nan Gong Yan's body. His entire body was swollen and were imprinted with claw marks. His entire body shivered, and his eyes trembled. Looking at the furry Long Fei, she trembled even more violently. Any woman facing such a situation wouldn't be able to bear the impact of such a heart attack. Furthermore, it was a scene that happened in front of their beloved man. Even if your heart was strong, you wouldn't be able to endure it. Long Fei's heart was bleeding. The idea roared in his heart. Kill them all! Kill them all! Use the cruelest method possible to kill them all. And then he crouched down and slowly carried Nan Gong Yen in his arms. Nan Gong Yan's hair was disheveled. She was extremely afraid, but she was also resisting and struggling, crazily hammering and biting in Long Fei's embrace, her mouth full of monkey hair. Long Fei lightly patted her back and said, "It's okay, it's okay. I'm Long Fei, it's okay." Inwardly, he said, I'm sorry. The Hell City was filled with cries and screams. The monkey army was massacring crazily, and there was massacring crazily. At the same time, Long Fei's system beep was soaring dramatically. Experience was soaring. His striking energy value was also going wild. Long Fei acted as if he did not feel anything at all. To him, the entire world was not as important as Nan Gong Yan's recovery. 1 minute passed. Long Fei's body recovered. Upon seeing the familiar Long Fei, he immediately collapsed and started crying loudly. At this moment, she had scratched Long Fei's chest until it was rotten. Long Fei hugged her tightly and hugged her with all his might. "Hold tight." Nangong yen-bit Long Fei's shoulder and said, Long Fei, woo-woo." They were all crying. S-Heart almost shattered from crying. Background. Default background color light blue ocean light, yellow clear green light elegant red powder aristocratic family, white snow world gray world color, default black red green blue brown size, default small medium large double click rolling screen, slowest, moderately fastest, background. Default background color light blue ocean light, yellow clear green light elegant red powder aristocratic family, white snow world gray world color, default black red green blue brown size, default small medium large double click rolling screen, slowest, moderately fastest chapter 1574, Secret World to Hell chapter 1574, Secret World to Hell author. A lot of water from the sea returns to the table of contents to join the bookmark. Table of contents, chapter 1574, Secret World of Hell 3 days and 3 nights. Hell City screamed for 3 days and 3 nights. The first day, Long Fei did not participate. On the second and third day, he summoned all of the 8 King Kong's back. The woman who had hurt him, he was going to slaughter a city. He was like a homicidal maniac. However, to the people of Chaos Realm, this was a joyous event. Long Fei had saved the world. Long Fei had become their hero. The Hell Gate disciples were demons in their hearts, while Long Fei was a hero. Hell Gate's main rudder was exterminated. The entire Chaos Realm was shaken. Even the Tower Question of God were affected. Long Fei. Zhan Wushuang knew that Zhan Tianlong had been killed, and that the Grand Elders of the Zhan clan had been killed. The Tower Question of God's Tower Lord idea moved, and said, Wushuang, you should now focus all of your attention on the matters of the Impact Sky Tower, and not let anything distract you. Zhan Wushuang clenched both his fists tightly, and said sinisterly, Long Fei, just you wait. Then, once again, he closed up for cultivation. He was getting closer and closer to breaking through the 100th floor of the God's Tower. The moment I obtain my power, I'll let you die. At the same time, Zhan Wushuang sent a sound transmission to the Tower Lord. Tower Lord, please tell my father not to send anyone else to deal with Long Fei. I will personally kill him. The Tower Lord of the Tower Question of God nodded. I will tell you. No matter how Long Fei changed, in his heart, Long Fei was never comparable to him. This was also the reason why he chose Zhan Wushuang. Moreover, the 9 secret warrior family was far more powerful than he had imagined. Boom. He had broken through the 98th level. It was much easier than he imagined. Like before, Saint Presbyter was obviously giving way to him, but Xianyuan Li'er pretended not to know anything and directly stepped onto the 99th floor. Big Brother Long Fei, there are only 2 floors left for me to leave this place. I can go and find you now. Big Brother Long Fei, wait for me. 9 secret warrior family. Zhan Tiantai sat on the patriarch's seat, and his eyes were incomparably cold. The 8 Grand Elders had teamed up together, but weren't able to kill Long Fei, and, furthermore, the entire Hell City was slaughtered. The power that he had single-handedly built up, Long Fei, only needed less than a month to completely uproot it. The destruction of the Hell Gate, Bounty Gate, and the 3 main sects could no longer be recovered. Monkeys all over the city? The backlash of the 8 King Kongs' heavenly tribulation. Who exactly is helping them? There must be someone behind Long Fei and the 8 King Kong. Zhan Tiantai said heavily, Go and investigate it for me. I must find out. Long Fei, I will definitely not let you go. I swear with my life, I will definitely make you pay. And then, Zhan Tiantu had once again entered the 9 secret borders. Hell City. Long Fei looked at the entire treasury of ancient spiritual artifact, his heart boiling. He said, Hellgate collected all of the ancient spiritual artifact here. Zhan Wushuang, just what kind of power does your God's shield possess? Strangely enough, there were only ancient spiritual artifact here, and not ancient holy artifact that provided the energy of the 10th floor. Over 1,000 ancient spiritual artifact. Long Fei quickly filled up the golden cudgel's energy. At this moment, the heavenly spirit walked in and said, Boss, we found a secret world. It seems to be hell inside. Could it be where your father is? Recommended book chapter table of contents. Quickly save the current chapter page to your browser favorites. Press Enter to return to the chapter catalog. Press O to return to the previous chapter. Press to enter the next chapter. Chapter 1575. Illusionary World. Chapter 1575. Illusionary World. The power of the Sky Spirit was special. He could sense things that ordinary people could not. Hearing him say this, Long Fei immediately thought of the order badge that he had obtained from the great clan elder of the Hell Gate. Then he thought about what his father had once said about the exquisite spirit in the Hell Gate. He quickly stored the ancient spiritual artifact in the treasury. As if celebrating the new year, the energy in the golden cudgel's 100 floors was instantly filled up. Ding! Energy replenishment complete. Current energy level 23. Ding! Energy replenishment complete. Current energy level 34. Ding! Energy completed. Current energy level 79. In just half a minute, the golden cudgel had become 100 layers. The golden cudgel had once again entered the realm of flickering red light. With a single movement, Long Fei's idea could transform into a Sun Wukong and be used as he wished. The power of main artifact. Half an hour later, Long Fei and 7 King Kongs stood at the entrance of Secret World. Ao, you didn't come. She stayed behind to take care of Nangong Yen. Although Nangong Yen had recovered quite a bit in the past 3 days, her heart was still in a state of collapse. Boss, it's here. It's very similar to the aura we had in the death space. Could it be? Li Yuanba looked at Long Fei. The reason they could live from hell back to life was because of Long Zhanting's help. In that space of death, they were very clear about the aura inside, and it was very similar to the aura in Secret World. If it's really Uncle, then we must save him. Arhut said. Long Fei had met his father when he was still in the air above the tower question of God. This secret world was a secret world of hell and death, but he did not seem like the death space his father was in. Long Fei said indifferently, You guys wait outside. Huh. Boss, why don't you bring us along? Boss, bring us along. We've been training hard for so long that our fists are starting to itch. Yes, boss is begging you. Bring us along. 7 King Kongs began begging one by one. When they rushed to Hell City, they had only released one move, and it was even with the combined power. Long Fei said, I only have one token. Long Fei took out the Hell's Medallion and said, Only one person can enter this medallion. Even if I wanted to, I wouldn't be able to. Naturally, there was a way. If he allowed the 8 of them to enter the base, he could bring them in, but Long Fei didn't want them to risk following him. Secret World heading to hell would not be able to turn back if they weren't careful. Li Yuanba looked at the Holy Spirit. The Spirit of Heaven shook his head. If they could go in, they would have gone in when they found out. However, the Secret World required something special to enter. Li Yuanba said, Boss, then you have to be careful by yourself. Wait for me outside. I'll be out soon. While they were talking, Long Fei took the order badge and walked into the secret world. At this time, Long Fei was slowly engulfed by the Death Chi flame. When his body completely entered the Death Chi flame, the order badge in his hand disappeared, and he appeared in a long corridor. Ding! System notification. Players are located on a path of no return. Ding! System notification. No teleportation is allowed on this map. Summon function. Special map. Long Fei looked at the system prompt, and his heart shivered. There are many such maps in the game. One cannot return to the city or use summoning. There are many restrictions. Usually, there was only one possibility in this situation. It was a super powerful boss. Long Fei had a lot of experience playing this game, so he said lightly, "If I'm not wrong, the one inside should be the Hell Gate's super boss." The 8 Grand Elders of Zhan Clan were indeed boss-level powerhouse, but they were not the strongest boss of Hell Gate. The most powerful boss should be here, in the secret world S of the Infernal Realm. Long Fei moved, using his points to exchange for a super eyes, then using the super teleportation found that he was unable to use his teleportation skill. And then, the summoning ability can't be used. Where's the war pet? Long Fei moved. God's war beasts, come out. Buzz. Ding. System notification. The special location cannot be used. Boss, what's going on? Why can't I leave? I'm tied down by a powerful force and can't break out. What kind of power is this? Try again, I can't do it. The God's War Beasts was very unhappy. He had never been restricted by power before. Long Fei did not try again and said, "It's no use. The location here is a little special." The power that restricted him was not any other power but the power of the system. Long Fei couldn't possibly tell him that it was the system, right? Even if she told him, the God's War Beasts would not understand. It was also at this time, Long Fei walked towards the exit and discovered that the exit had already disappeared. The Infernal Realm's path of no return. There really is no way back. All right, then let's see what kind of boss you have. Long Fei's heart skipped a beat, and he walked forward. The path of no return was long and gloomy, and the skeletons could be seen everywhere. They emitted a strong aura of death, and the deeper they went, the thicker and harder it was to resist. What exactly is this place? After walking for more than 4 hours, they still had not reached the end. It was like walking through a ghost wall. There was only one path, and it was impossible to get lost in a very narrow corridor. Long Fei felt that this was somewhat unbelievable, and then he moved his body slightly. The idea moved. Boom! The idea shot out, piercing through the death aura and quickly spreading out. Suddenly, a pair of eyes suddenly opened and stared. Buzz. Long Fei consecutively retreated backwards, and his idea was instantly crushed. The light that was released by those eyes was unimaginable. It's a boss. Long Fei's brows twitched, and he stabilized his body as he ran into the darkness with all his strength. Swish, swish, swish. His figure was like a ghost. The might of the demon god was rapidly released, locking his eyes in place without loosening his grip. Full speed. In an instant, Long Fei appeared in front of that pair of eyes. This father doesn't want to wander around in this hallway for a few more hours. Boom. The power of the 9 tribulations sword moved as the 3 tribulations began to burn. The light from the 9 tribulations sword illuminated the entire body of the giant eye, an incomparably ferocious statue. It looked like a demon guarding the gates of hell. Its fangs were bent, and its entire body was made up of skeletons. Savage. His entire body was a statue, but his eyes looked like he was alive, they could move, and he was staring straight at Long Fei. His gaze was filled with boundless pressure. Moreover, Long Fei instantly entered into a dreamscape which was filled with the illusion of a sea of blood. guardian of hell, nightmare phantom. Long Fei stood above the sea of blood, looked at the sky, and said, "Illusory world." Chapter 1575, Violent Killing. Chapter 1575, Violent Killing. Is the illusionary world awesome? The corner of Long Fei's mouth drew back, and she laughed coldly. At this moment, a pair of gigantic eyes appeared in the sky, those eyes that produced illusions. She stared at Long Fei and coldly said, "You're not awesome, but a person like you will never be able to escape." "Is that so?" Long Fei laughed. The pair of giant eyes let out a sound and said, "Is that not the case? Your power cannot be broken through. You will live your entire life in an illusion, and very quickly you will lose yourself, and very quickly you will become a part of the sea of blood." Very arrogant. He was also very confident. The nightmare phantom was very confident in the illusory world that she had created. Long Fei can't do it either. However, while he was full of confidence and arrogance, a red staff appeared in Long Fei's hands, the corners of Long Fei's mouth raised. "Then let's see if your illusionary world can handle it." Buzz. Great Sage Qitian. Boom. The aura on Long Fei's body suddenly changed, and she instantly transformed into the Sun Wukong mode. The golden cudgel in his hand was immediately thrown away, and he stood where he was and laughed. "Let's see how strong the level of your illusory world is. Transformation. Become a monkey? Ha ha ha. I thought you had some kind of power. So you turned out to be an animal. You won't be able to leave my illusionary world. Ha ha ha." Nightmare Phantom laughed loudly. What could a monkey do? It doesn't change anything. While he was laughing maniacally, "Long, let me grow." Long Fei controlled the golden cudgel, and it crazily flew up. It was thick and big, like a giant pillar supporting the sky. After absorbing over 1,000 ancient spiritual artifact in Hellgate's treasury, the current Long Fei was like a parvenu. What does this energy need to do? Furthermore, the feeling of transforming into a Sun Wukong was really great, with the change of 72, in addition to the fierce competition of the golden cudgel S. Boom, boom, boom. The golden cudgel released explosive sounds, as though it was piercing through the heavens. Long Fei continued, "Long, crazily long." Since the golden cudgel could reach the heavenly court and journey to the west, then let's see where the limits of this illusion world lay. Long Fei was not worried at all. Half a minute later, the illusory world began to tremble. Nightmare Phantom's eyes also tightened slightly. Long Fei continued, "Long. Someone from the golden cudgel laughed at you. Why don't you teach him a lesson?" The golden cudgel possessed spiritual awareness, so it was naturally clear that they were being mocked. It didn't matter if he was mocked. His master was a monkey. If it was an animal, then it couldn't be helped. It crazily thickened and grew longer. Rumble, rumble, rumble. With another cracking sound, the entire blood sea illusion began to tremble violently. Nightmare Phantom tensed up again. Long Fei laughed. "Can't break it? I don't need to break through, because I will crush everything here." Boom, boom. The sky split open, and lines of cracks filled up the sky like lightning. Any illusion world had their limits, and Golden Cudgel could pierce through the sky, just like how it did the illusion world. Kacha! The sky crazily exploded as piece by piece, with the Golden Cudgel at the center. The illusion power of the Nightmare Phantom surged out crazily, trying to make up for the collapse of the illusion world. Long Fei grinned. "Did it break?" Nightmare Phantom shouted and said, "Did you go out? It's a good thing that you didn't go out. Let me ask you, did you break it?" The corner of Long Fei's mouth hooked up. She walked up to the golden cudgel and grabbed at it with both hands. The extremely thick golden cudgel was caught. "You're still being stubborn, aren't you? I'll ask you one thing. Are you afraid of such a big and thick staff?" Rumble, rumble. With loud bangs, Long Fei grabbed the entire golden cudgel in her hands and exploded with power. Rumble, smash, walala. The sky was split open, and the illusory world was collapsing. Walala, the entire illusion world was trembling. Long Fei swept her arms out crazily, and even that pair of illusionary eyes were blown blind. She smashed them down again, and 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 again. Thick and scared, carrying the gigantic golden cudgel on his shoulder, Long Fei's entire illusion world had already collapsed. Under his feet, the path to hell had automatically turned into a corridor. He looked at the exhausted pair of eyes. Its holy source had already been used up. The golden cudgel in Long Fei's hands pointed at the pair of huge eyes and said, "What other **T are you talking about?" Nightmare Phantom stared at Long Fei angrily and said, "I do not accept it. So what if you destroy my illusion world? My most powerful physical body is limitless." Not waiting for him to finish. Boom. With a sweep of the staff, Long Fei smashed the rest of the statues into pieces and asked, "What did you just say about the endless body?" "Where?" Countless ghosts on the shattered statue roared and howled, and then one by one they disappeared into nothingness. Long Fei said, "Are you convinced?" The nightmare illusion's anger surged. "Brat, break my illusion, destroy my body, I what? Why did it become a stutter?" Long Fei laughed disdainfully. "Speak, where is the next floor's entrance?" This was the end of hell's path of no return. There was no other way. It must be because of this nightmare phantom that he knew where the entrance to the next floor was. If not for that, Long Fei would have killed it with a swing of her staff long ago. Nightmare Phantom laughed. "Do you want to go in?" "Ha ha ha. Begging me. Kneel down and beg me, and I'll make sure that you will enter Hell's Hall." Kneel down. He was exceptionally pleased with himself. Long Fei stared at him, annoyed. After taking a close look at his surroundings, he began to frantically ponder in his mind. He raised his eyes slightly and stared into the pair of eyes as he pleaded, "Please, I beg of you." When had great sage Chi Tian ever begged anyone? "You want him to kneel?" Without saying a word, Long Fei raised her golden cudgel and smashed down fiercely. With a powerful strike, she caused the blood on Nightmare Phantom's head to become crippled, instantaneously seeing the bottom. Too sudden, the Nightmare Phantom did not react immediately, and Long Fei was extremely furious. "Beg. Do you still want more?" Long Fei bellowed out a few times, and before Nightmare Phantom could say anything, she struck his opponent with her staff a few times, not giving him any chance to escape at all. She directly killed him. Boom! A blood-curdling scream came out from the void. Nightmare Phantom's body was warping and warping while her eyes were struggling as though she was facing an unparalleled undead. You will definitely die." With a blood-curdling screech, it finally crumbled. Immediately after, a melodious prompt sounded from the system. Ding! Chapter 1577, Death Shura. Chapter 1577, Death Shura Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Nightmare Phantom for obtaining 100 million experience, 100 million holy source points, and 1 energy values point. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Nightmare Illusion Eye. Do you wish to fuse it? The Nightmare Phantom only revealed a pair of eyes that could create illusions. Long Fei was silent for a while, and did not rush to merge with them. The instant he entered the ring, ding! The nightmare illusionary, I has been swallowed. Huh. Who is it? Long Fei muttered. He was not swallowed, but was instead swallowed by someone else. The sky-swallowing rat giggled. Boss, these eyes are a big help to me. I just can't hold it in anymore. He was chewing with a satisfied expression on his face. Long Fei waved his hand. Forget it, but sky-swallowing rat, no matter what, you are still a unique divine beast, right? Aren't you able to swallow the sky? I don't need you to swallow the heavens right now, but can you swallow a divine, level powerhouse? Long Fei hadn't paid much attention to the situation with the sky-swallowing rat during this period of time. However, he knew that most of the things that he had dropped had been devoured. In Long Fei's Warpet space, it was still young, but he didn't know how big it would be. Long Fei asked. The sky-swallowing rat scratched her head. Boss, give me a little more time. Well, immediately, soon, I will be able to absorb the divine spark. Long Fei immediately looked at the 10 divine sparks within the space ring and said, I told you to swallow the divine spark of a divine level powerhouse. If you come out, I promise I won't beat you to death. Actually, sky-swallowing rat's current cultivation was already extremely terrifying. If he could devour a divine spark, he could have instantly devoured the evolved powerhouse of an ordinary blend FO godhead. But right now, he had yet to reach that step. But soon. Long Fei didn't say anything else, and only warned him, you can engulf the divine spark, but leave me some. The colorful fairy dragon needed a divine spark. Also, Long Fei's level 10 God's martial sect also required his life, and if Long Fei was unable to break through the divine level, he could only have his brother, the blend FO godhead, break through the ranks of the gods' martial sect and summon those people from the gods' martial continent, especially the dragon ancestors. They should be allowed to see the colorful fairy dragon above. After the nightmare phantom was killed, Long Fei returned to his original state. At this time, a black hole that resembled a vortex appeared behind his body. This should be the entrance, right? Long Fei moved and said, fill up the energy. Long Fei did not need to worry that there were not enough ancient spiritual artifact among the 1,700 or so. And don't worry about dealing with Zhan Wushuang. Right now, he was not even 10% of the power of the Sun Wukong. He had to continuously transform himself to unleash the stronger power of the Sun Wukong, especially when it came to the energy that had undergone the 72 transformations. Ding! Energy level complete. Current energy level, 100 levels. Buzz. In that instant, Long Fei stepped into the black hole. At this moment, rumble! A loud sound reverberated inside Long Fei's eardrums, and a burst of ear-piercing shrieks sounded out. Ha ha ha! It's finally here. I knew you would come in one day. Long Fei entered a hall. Sitting in the great hall was a single person. Death God? That's not right. It was the Azura King. However, when Long Fei heard the voice before, it was the voice of the god of death. However, the body of the Azura King, what kind of situation was this? Death Shura? The energy of the Xiao Luo divine body in his body. Suddenly, Long Fei suddenly realized that the Xiao Luo divine body that had merged into his body after being played with by the Shura King in front of the chess piece was most likely the Death Shura's arrangement. The purpose was to monitor himself, just to get himself in here one day. But what was his purpose in coming here? Long Fei smiled slightly and said, Death Shura, it had already appeared in the gods' martial continent before, but it's just that. You did not expect that you would be replaced by the power my father used to reverse your control, and you have no choice but to hide here. Shut up. The Death Shura roared fiercely. A powerful pressure bore down from all directions. The dense power directly sent Long Fei flying and fiercely struck onto the wall. It was also at this moment. Boom! Countless ghostly hands extended out from the wall and bound Long Fei tightly. Death Shura's eyes turned sinister as he said, "If it wasn't for your father already returning to the divine throne, your father would have asked for all of this. I did so many things for him according to the contract, but in the end, my powers have been stripped away." But he looked at Long Fei and laughed sinisterly, saying, "I want to take back what your father has done to me 10 times over from your body. Do you think that my Xiao Luo divine body is useless? Besides defense, its attack power isn't strong at all. Ha ha! The defense is just to ensure that you don't die, and you are my vessel. I have obtained endless strength from your body. And the most important thing is the mysterious prompt in your mind. The way you kill people can release all kinds of things, and the way you kill people can be upgraded. Your cultivation method is different from everyone else's. Even God doesn't have such a perfect cultivation method. This is it. Who would have thought?" From the moment Long Fei entered the Chaos Realm, countless people had told him that he had concealed a powerful force within his body and asked him if he had awakened this power. He thought it was the power of Azura. He had never doubted it. After he was attacked by the Destiny God's fate judgment, he was fused together with the Azura King. At that time, he never suspected that the Azura King was actually the god of death that had signed a contract with his father. Who would have thought that he was not dead and had arranged all this? Long Fei never expected this. What was even more unexpected was that the Azura King had fused into his body not to help him, but to find out everything about him. Now, even the system itself was known by him. At this moment, Long Fei felt like someone had discovered his deepest secret. Inverted scale. The real reverse scale. Other than Long Fei himself, Long Fei did not plan to talk about the existence of the system, and more importantly, he did not want others to discover it. The space between his eyebrows tightened. The corner of Long Fei's mouth curled up slightly and said, "You actually know my secret, then don't even think about living in this world." Alive. Ha ha ha. I have never lived. I have always been in a state of death. Long Fei, do you understand what it means to be in a state of death? The Death Shura laughed coldly and said, "Obediently hand over that thing in your head, and I will let you become my slave and live in this world forever." Long Fei's brows twitched. Boom! The golden cudgel in his hand flashed with red light. However, in that moment, Death Shura's eyes turned sinister. Critical death! Buzz! Long Fei's brain was suddenly cut off, and the most important point was that he was unable to control the idea. Chapter 1578, Forced Devouring of Divine Spark. Chapter 1578, Forced Devouring of Divine. Spark, the idea, was blocked by a barrier, making it impossible for it to connect with the system. At this moment, thus, there was no way to control it. Long Fei's brows tightened. Death Shura laughed coldly. "You won't be able to use your mysterious power, right?" Ha ha ha. I was indeed not mistaken. The idea had to issue an order. As long as you block the link between the idea and that power, you will not be able to use that power. Long Fei, I have already seen through you. My power of Azura was indeed not wrong when it came to you. Ha ha! You're even more of a surprise to me than your father. Ha ha ha! It can be said that you even surpassed your mother's soul. Death Shura was extremely excited. When Long Zhanting seized his power, she made him lose the chance to return to the divine realm. At that time, he swore that he would take revenge 10 times over. When he noticed Long Fei's sudden rise in power, he had been curious. What kind of inherent skill could make Long Fei break through so quickly without training and just killing people. For this, he merged the power of Azura into Long Fei's body and began to lurk. If he wanted to find out exactly what kind of mysterious power was inside Long Fei's body, he would have to lurk around Long Fei's body. Strange notifications sounded again and again. Time and again, something that appeared out of nowhere from the space ring. All sorts of strange cards and mysterious powers appeared in his mind time and time again. He didn't understand them at all, but he was even more sure of his own thoughts. Long Fei was definitely not an ordinary person, and the mysterious power Long Fei possessed caused him to be extremely envious. He had to possess it. If he possessed this kind of power, then it would only be a matter of time before he returned to his divine position. He could even become the ruler of these 100,000 planes and trample over all of the gods in Main Temple. When he thought about this, the Death Shura couldn't help but laugh wildly and complacently, saying, "Long Fei, hand it over obediently. I will grant you eternal strength." Ah, ha, ha. Long Fei kept trying. His idea was completely blocked, and he could not enter the system world, nor could he use the power of the golden cudgel. The idea was activated. Now that the idea was sealed in a special critical space, Long Fei was completely unable to use it. In other words, Long Fei was now completely isolated from the system. This was the first time in history. Long Fei's heart slightly sunk. He did not panic, but rather asked Death Shura, "Do you really want my power that much?" Death Shura said, "Of course, the power that you have up till now is the most perfect power that I have discovered. Killing people and exploding things, killing people and leveling up. Is there any better way of cultivation?" Long Fei, giving you this kind of power is already a waste. You don't even know how to use it. Give him to me. I will let you see what is power and what is the strongest kind of power. I will turn the entire chaos realm into a plane of death. I will make everyone, all the demon beast, die under my hands. Ha ha ha. Death God started laughing maniacally when he thought of this. Long Fei's power was too perfect for him. It was just like how he had created it himself. Hand it over and become my slave. I will let you see the world trembling for me. The Death Shura stared at Long Fei. The idea that had been controlling Long Fei throughout death was not relaxed at all. He would never give Long Fei even the slightest chance, because he was too familiar with Long Fei. As long as Long Fei was given a small chance, he could reverse the situation, just like how his father had reversed the situation in the death space. He would never make the same mistake again. Absolutely not. Long Fei was stunned. The Death Shura's understanding of the system was beyond his imagination. He could not let him live. He absolutely could not let him live. The Death Shura must die. Moreover, he had to kill off the Azura force within his body. This was too dangerous. But now his idea could not be controlled, and even if he had the strength, he could not use it. Moreover, he had to face the Death God's training. Ordinary strength was simply not enough. "Sister," Long Fei secretly thought. The Sleeping Beauty was lying on her side, sleeping soundly. She had no intention of waking up at all. If she fell asleep, even if the sky collapsed, she wouldn't wake up, let alone a voice as soft as Long Fei's. "Divine Dragon?" Long Fei shouted once again. The colorful fairy dragon's eyes were slightly closed, as if it had entered some sort of secluded cultivation, and didn't hear Long Fei's call for him at all. "The system is not available. Golden Cudgel cannot be used. The Sleeping Beauty, who knew everything, could not wake up. The strong, colorful fairy dragon were also in closed-door cultivation, so there was no one available for Long Fei right now. Suddenly, Long Fei suddenly realized that besides the system, he had nothing better to do with the super war pet. Nothing. This feeling was truly very uncomfortable. If the system disappears, If my idea is unable to control everything, what else do I have? Long Fei's heart was suddenly shocked, and for some reason, a cold feeling rose from within his heart. Suddenly, he was afraid. At this moment, Death Shura suddenly shouted, "Long Fei, have you thought this through? Did you hand it over obediently? I still have to do it myself. I can guarantee that if I do it, you will definitely be in a very, very miserable state." Long Fei's heart shook and stopped thinking about the matter of losing the system. No matter what happens in the future, Long Fei will bravely face it. He definitely would not allow something like this in the Death Shura to happen again. His heart stirred as he said, "Sky-swallowing rat, what if you engulf the divine spark now? Devour all 10 of them together." "Can you eat this guy?" Sky-swallowing rat immediately responded. "No problem." He was different from the colorful fairy dragon as he could hear Long Fei's words, because he was a sky-swallowing rat refined by Long Fei's devourer's vein, and was also a part of Long Fei's body. Long Fei said, "Then what are you waiting for? All 10 divine sparks belong to you. I want you to devour all of this guy's power, the power that covers my body." Long Fei quickly ordered. When the sky-swallowing rat moved, 10 divine sparks fell into its mouth like candy. Boom, 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 bang, 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 bang. "Long Fei, stop wasting time." The Death Shura moved suddenly. A powerful aura rolled over and pressed down on Long Fei's mind like a mountain toppling over the ocean. Long Fei was completely unable to move. Long Fei also had no intention to move, and asked softly, "You want my strength? Come and take it if you dare." Death Shura's eyes were filled with anger. "Brat, you asked for this yourself." At this time, the sky-swallowing rat burped and said, "Boss, I'm done." Chapter 1579. Blast him. Chapter 1579. Blast him, boss. I'm full. The sky-swallowing rat burped continuously. He swallowed all 10 divine sparks, forcibly devouring them. Unexpectedly, nothing had happened. Long Fei was secretly excited. The Death Shura said sinisterly, "Long Zhanting, I had thought that your soul would be able to help me return to my divine body, but your son is more suitable for me. Seize my strength? I will take it back from your son today." In that instant, Death Shura suddenly moved his fingers. Opening his fingers, 5 thin and long fingers appeared like needles, each of them flashing with a cold light. Ghastly, terrifying, bringing the power of the Death Shura with him. He pierced towards Long Fei's head and said, "Long Fei, give me all of your power." At this moment, Long Fei laughed in disdain and said, "Sacrifice your sister. Sky-swallowing rat, eat it." Creak. A crisp sound rang out. Death Shura sneered and said, "Sky-swallowing rat? The baby mouse? He does indeed have some power, but what can a sky-swallowing rat and its cubs do? Not to mention he can be summoned by you, even if you can call him out. How could it?" Without waiting for Death Shura to finish speaking, his pupils abruptly shrank and sank. Because his body was covered by a black shadow, he turned his head and saw a gigantic sky-swallowing rat standing behind him. The sky-swallowing rat said slightly, "What did you say just now? So what if I summon it?" A powerful force. When sky-swallowing rat cultivated to a certain level, they could really swallow the heavens. Long Fei sneered at Death Shura and said, "Speak, continue speaking. What can you do to him? What can you do to me?" Hiding within my body, wanting to obtain my strength. Come on, come now. He had never suspected the Azura King, but he never thought that the Azura King would actually be hiding in his body to observe everything. It actually wanted to steal his life, and even knew that his system existed. The system was Long Fei's reverse scale. No one could know. The Death Shura's gaze tensed up as he stared at Long Fei, and said, Long Fei, this is the Azura Hall, the world that I control. I am the hegemon. Let alone a sky-swallowing rat, even if it's... Long Fei waved his hand and said, Don't be a bastard if you can fight. I don't want to waste my breath on you. Attack. Long nights bring many troubles. Death Shura cannot be given any chance. Death Shura shouted and suddenly changed his speed. As long as I can obtain that mysterious power of yours, everything that you have will be mine. Colorful fairy dragon. Heavenly court, 2 bases in hell. And your 8 King Kong, your women, they are all mine. A fight to the death. As long as he absorbed the system's power from Long Fei's mind, he could instantly control the sky-swallowing rat. There was no need to worry at all. However, just when Death Shura's 5 fingers were a few centimeters away from Long Fei's head, he heard a crack, and then, there was no then. It was eaten by the sky-swallowing rat. Chicken crispy. Kacha, kacha. A series of crisp sounds came out from the sky-swallowing rat's mouth. The sky-swallowing rat said contentedly, Boss, this taste is really good. And also, it also contained tremendous power. It's a great tonic. Ha ha. He ate heartily, as if he was hugging oil, with both hands, and eating it with his lamb leg, which was overflowing with the smell of burnt meat. Long Fei said, Don't just focus on eating. I will devour the energy in my body as well. It was too dangerous. If the system were to find out, he would be killed in front of Xiaobai, and by everyone, because they would think that this was a shortcut for cultivation. No one liked that kind of boring cultivation. If killing someone could help them break through, then everyone would want to take this shortcut. Moreover, they would think that this was the most comfortable path to break through. Only Long Fei knew how difficult it was. The sky-swallowing rat said, Boss, don't worry. The sky-swallowing rat was not only able to devour the Death Shura-S, it was also able to devour everything. All the undead in the Azura Hall were also crazily devoured by him. These were all ghost slaves from the Death Shura. Roar. Ah, Long Fei, you can't kill me. I was the one who saved you. I gave you a new life. If not, do you think you can still stand here? You were killed by the heavenly tribulation a long time ago. It's me. I saved you. You can't do this to me. You can't kill me. When you went through the tribulation in God's martial continent, you died. Do you think you succeeded? It's just that you were killed by the heavenly tribulation. It was I who stole the heaven from the heaven and used the youth master of Hell Gate to exchange for you. So all of your appearances changed because of this. I saved you, you can't kill me. The Death Shura said loudly. Long Fei was stunned. His 3 years of memories were all blank, and all the previous memories of this body were all blank. Even Xian Yuan, Li Er himself, was unable to remember them all. It could be said, Long Fei had no memory of this body at all. He had thought about this question for a very long time and could not find an answer. Now that the Death Shura had said this, he finally came to a realization as he thought in his heart, heavenly tribulation at the great perfection. I should have successfully transcended the heavenly tribulation, but why would Death Shura say that? Did I really die once? I clearly succeeded, but why am I still dead? Could it be that there is another kind of power hidden within the heavenly tribulation? A power aimed at me? Long Fei's brain wasn't strong enough. He kept things very simple. But when he was told by Death Shura, he suddenly realized that there was no such thing as simple as that. Death Shura, said, "You are a descendant of the dragon race. The power of heavenly tribulation will not let you go so easily. I was the one who saved you. Otherwise you would have died long ago." "Long Fei, you can't kill me. You can't kill me." Long Fei's gaze darkened and said, "Why did you say that no descendants of the dragon race could successfully pass through the tribulation? Why did the heavenly tribulation target the descendants of the dragon?" Long Fei was one of the people from the Long family. Long family was indeed a dragon. It was just that. Long Fei was the reincarnation of a Yuan Long. He had forcefully killed the Yuan Long and became his own. However, he was different from the other disciples of the dragon clan. He had never become a dragon because his dragon blood activation is 0. His grandfather had turned into a dragon once, and the disciples of the Long family had turned into dragons once. Death Shura said, "If you want to know everything, then release me." "Negotiating with me?" Long Fei's eyes were filled with killing intent, and he said, "Your F*** king thinking too much. Explode with him." Chapter 1580, Body Division, 2 bodies. Chapter 1580, Body Division, 2 bodies. The sky-swallowing rat received the order and instantly activated the crazy swallowing mode. His body was like a meat grinder. The huge tornado engulfed Death Shura within. He was unable to extricate himself. The energy in Death Shura's body was also frantically leaking. "No, no. Long Fei, you can't kill me, you can't. Please, please, I'll tell you everything. Please don't kill me," Death Shura pleaded, but Long Fei ignored him. It didn't matter if what he said was true or false. One sentence. If the heavens did not want him to live, he would not let the heavens feel good either. "Swallow." The sky-swallowing rat continued to exert its strength, and the blood groove on the top of Death Shura's head began to decrease crazily. During this period, the power of the Azura King within Long Fei's body was also rapidly decreasing. It was sucked into the sky-swallowing rat's body. Long Fei also let out a sigh of relief in his heart. "I've finally gotten rid of it." Boom! The body of the Death Shura exploded in midair as he roared out, "Long Fei, you will regret this." Long Fei grinned and said, "Regret? Long Fei, have never regretted doing anything. Go ahead." Rumble! Death Shura exploded as the system sounded out. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Death Shura for obtaining 9 billion experience, 10 million holy source points, and 10 energy values points. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Exquisite Soul. Congratulations to the player Long Fei for obtaining the Azura Space. Do you wish to learn it? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Azura Sword. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Azura Blood Vein. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Azura's True Body. Congratulations to player Long Fei. It was a complete mess. All good things. Furthermore, the system beep was still continuing. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for his magic body level increase, currently level 87. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Death Shura for obtaining the system reward. Do you wish to fuse the reward item Death Tribulation? Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for swallowing an Azura blood vein. The blood vein's rank has been continuously upgraded. Current blood vein level 86. Ding! A crazy explosion. This was the pace at which they were going to kill the boss. Huff, huff. Long Fei looked at the items that dropped Azura's True Body exchange points. Azura Space, train. After doing all this, Long Fei returned the sky, swallowing rat back to the Warpet space. The sky-swallowing rat had not completely absorbed the 10 divine sparks. So coupled with the fact that his breakthrough speed was similar to flying this time, he needed some time to refine the energy in his body. It was also at this moment, boom, Long Fei moved. Enter the Azura space. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for opening Azura space, for obtaining 100 experience points, Holy Source 100 points, and the reward is 100 points. This was a special space. Training space. Long Fei took a deep breath, thinking about what would happen if he lost the system the moment his idea was bound by the Death Shura. How miserably did he die? Long Fei had never thought about this. The system was in his mind, and it could be said that a strand of his consciousness could not disappear, nor could it be extracted by the Death Shura. But what if? What if he didn't have the system anymore? This world was much more powerful and terrifying than he had imagined. If he was really the system, then what would happen? Had never thought about it before, but after this matter, he had to think about it. I'm too reliant on the system. The existence of the system itself is a bug. If I were to retract the system, I would have nothing left. This is a very serious problem. This was also the first time Long Fei had considered this question. Why did it appear in his body, in the real sense of the system, who was controlling it? What if the developer of the system became unhappy, and he suddenly recalled the system back into his body? These questions are vague, but what if Long Fei had no choice but to consider it? This was also the reason he entered the Azura space. If what Death Shura said is true, then the heavens will not tolerate me. Combined with what the divine dragon said, could it be that the heavens are that mysterious power that will deal with the dragon race? Long Fei never thought that he would actually die once. Furthermore, he believed that he had successfully transcended the tribulation, so he had no idea that he had died. From that, he knew that this power could easily kill him. Even he didn't know. Regardless of whether it was the power used to deal with the dragon race or not, Long Fei had to be careful with every step he took. Huff! Long Fei exhaled once again. The idea moved and said, "Activate the body division technique." Ding! System prompt. Do you want to start the body splitting technique? The system flashed with red light. This was a warning notification. It meant that this decision was extremely important for Long Fei to consider again. Long Fei answered without hesitation, yes. He had wanted to overdo it when he had obtained the body-dividing technique, but at that time he had only thought about it and did not plan to do it yet. Now, he did not hesitate. The split body technique was like a computer partition. Split the plate into 2 plates. Moreover, it was 2 completely different plates. Ding! Activate body division. Players, please split your body freely. At this moment, Long Fei entered a separate dimension, other than the Heaven Calamity Divine Tree and the 9 Tribulations Sword. Long Fei did not give him anything else when he wanted to completely separate the divine demon body. The most crucial point, Long Fei completely isolated the power of the system from the body of the god and devil. If he was a puppet of the system, then he did not want his other body to become a puppet of the system. When magic body struggled their way out, they would have to rely on regular cultivation methods. He's just like a normal fighter. It was a completely new system, and everything related to the system, Long Fei, was within the body of the real face. The magic body was one of Long Fei's seeds. 2 hours later, ding! Separate body successfully. It was also at this moment Long Fei returned to his real face appearance, and the magic body stood in front of him. It had the same consciousness, the same thoughts. Long Fei could clearly feel what the magic body was thinking. On the contrary, magic body were the same. The magic body was completely separated from the rest. He was now an independent existence. Long Fei looked at the demon god and said, "From today onwards, you are my deepest secret, and from now on, no one will know of your existence. I need you to cultivate with ease. I need you to see a world that I cannot see. I need you to help me find out who is dealing with the dragon race. Just who wants to kill me? The heavens. Wait." Chapter 1581. Lear enter level 100. Chapter 1581. Lear enter level 100. The decision to separate the magic body was made on a temporary basis by Long Fei. He now had two bodies, both of which were independent. One had a system. It possessed an incomparable divine tree of heavenly tribulation, as well as incomparable talent and potential. His body and Long Fei's were completely different. His pubes were as vast as the ocean. His veins were unobstructed. His blood veins were heaven-defying and powerful, and he was the most perfect body that Long Fei had separated from. Self-judgment, independent thinking. The magic body would be Long Fei's strongest secret, and also his greatest trump card. The Azura Hall collapsed, and the path of no return also collapsed. At this moment, another death space. Long Zhanting's eyes slightly opened and said excitedly, "I already said, you're not my son's opponent." At this moment, dragon power wildly burst out from Long Zhanting's body, crazily absorbing all the power from the death space. Death Shura had fallen. Right now, Long Zhanting was the Death Shura, an existence that controlled life and death. After a long time, Long Zhanting's eyes flashed with a bright light, and she said lightly, "It's time to go to hell. Chaos Realm will be destroyed by Xiao Fei before long. I must be prepared. I must prepare everything for him. He will definitely enter the divinity, only in ancient holy battlefield." Long Zhanting's heart tensed up. An image appeared in his mind again. No matter how many times he had prophesied, the image could not be changed. Just like fate, it was impossible to escape. "Xiao Fei, you have to hold on." Long Zhanting clenched both his fists tightly, and the idea suddenly appeared in front of him. The gigantic stone door was pushed open. Gates of hell, the real hell, different from the underworld of... The hell here was the hell of the 100,000 planes controlled by the main temple, a paradise after the fall of the powerhouse. Long Zhanting took a step inside. When the secret world collapsed, Long Fei returned to the Hell Gate in his real face appearance. 7 King Kongs had been waiting outside the secret world. Upon seeing Long Fei walking out of the secret world, the 7 of them heaved a sigh of relief. Li Yuanba walked forward and asked, "Boss, are you all right?" Long Fei nodded his head. "One-hit kill." "Ha ha." The heavenly spirit immediately laughed. "I knew it. Boss is definitely invincible, but Boss, is Uncle's death space inside?" Long Fei shook his head and said, "No." "Oh." The 7 of them were a little down, and when they saw that they were very concerned about Long Zhanting. It was Long Zhanting who saved them. It was Long Zhanting who had given them a new lease in their hearts. If possible, they really wanted to save Long Zhanting from the secret world. Li Yuanba said, "Boss, what do we do next?" Long Fei asked, "Did 9's secret warrior family do anything?" Li Yuanba said, "Not at the moment. I think it's a little abnormal. With 9's secret warrior family's temper, they would never let it go so easily. 10 divine level powerhouse dying all of a sudden. This time, there hasn't been any reaction at all for the past few days. Could it be that they were shocked by us? For the next 3 days, there was no response from Zhan family. What are they waiting for?" Long Fei thought of a person, Zhan Wushuang. They were definitely waiting for Zhan Wushuang to break through the 100 layers of God's tower, and at that time, Zhan Wushuang would receive one of the gods' power. This power should be the strongest power in the chaos realm. Long Fei thought for a moment, then said, "If the Zhan clan does not take action, we shall attack first." 7 King Kongs immediately laughed excitedly. They were fanatics when it came to fighting. Every one of them were battle maniacs and hated that they couldn't kill him to the core. They were not addicted to fighting in the Hell Gate at all. That would be great. Arhut scratched his head and said, "Boss, do you know the location of the 9 secret warrior family?" Huh. Everyone was stunned. The Zhan clan was extremely mysterious. No one knew where the main clan headquarters was, and even the Hell Gate elders from the past had only used their card to communicate with them. He had no idea where the Zhan clan was located, except for the Zhan clan. Long Fei's brows slightly tightened and said, "This is indeed a problem. After all, if others wanted to bully you, they would bully you. If others didn't move, you wouldn't even know his position, right?" This was too passive. It really did not fit Long Fei's personality. At this time, Fallen Dragon put his palms together and said, "I heard that the Xianyuan nationality and Zhan family are very close during our travels outside. If we can find the Xianyuan nationality, maybe we can find Zhan family's location." Xianyuan clan? Long Fei frowned slightly. At this time, Aoya brought Nangong Yen and Yi Jingyan over. Aoya said, "I know a little about the Xianyuan family's position." Long Fei looked at her, then looked at Nangong Yen. She had pretty much recovered, and there was no fear in her eyes like a few days ago. "Ha ha ha. Then we'll go to the Xianyuan clan." "Boss, isn't Zhan Wushuang fighting with you over sister-in-law? Let's go to the Xianyuan family to set the betrothal gift," Li Yuanba said with a silly smile. "That's right. The first strike is the strongest. Xianyuan Li Er has only promised Zhan Wushuang verbally, but the battle family does not have a betrothal gift. Let's place the betrothal gift first. If Xianyuan nationality dares to reject, then my fat men Chen will be the first to not let him off." "Chun," Tianfei said in a domineering manner. "This wasn't a betrothal gift. This was a stolen marriage. However, Xianyuan Li Er was not in the Xianyuan nationality. Long Fei did not want to sit still and wait for death. The 9 battle family divine, S, had fallen. Now was the time to beat the crap out of them. Go to Xianyuan nationality. I also need to meet this father-in-law." Long Fei smiled slightly. Xianyuan nationality, one of the mysterious clans in Chaos Realm. His background is also very strong. Xianyuan ancestor was also a divine level powerhouse. Moreover, the Xianyuan nationality carried a very strong power, but they did not know what that strong power was for a very long time. Boom, boom, boom. The tower question of God roared loudly once again. Zhan Wushuang's entire body was drenched in sweat. He was flung out by the powerful God power. The blood in his entire body was boiling. He was extremely displeased. Zhan Wushuang roared in rage and said, "Do you believe that I won't kill you?" At this moment, boom, the God's Tower S on the 100th floor suddenly opened. Xianyuan Li Er walked in, and his expression changed. He trembled slightly. "Junior sister Li Er." Xianyuan Li Er had stepped into the 100th floor. He had finally caught up to Zhan Wushuang. Although the last few levels were deliberately arranged by Zhan Wushuang, it wouldn't be too hard for her to give him enough time due to her inherent skill. Xianyuan Li Er still maintained a cold expression in front of Zhan Wushuang. However, Zhan Wushuang was incomparably excited. Looking at Xianyuan Li Er's ice-cold expression, the idea moved, sending a sound transmission to a Zhan's elder. "When we go back and get my father to hand over his bridal gift, even if I have to marry Xianyuan Li Er." Chapter 1582. You are not people from the same world. Chapter 1582. You are not people from the same world. Suddenly, even the Zhan's elder was stunned. He said he would get married at this time? Zhan Wushuang said with a sound transmission, the Xianyuan family has some background in the chaos realm, and we still have to give them face. Tell my father to prepare his bridal gift, and tell him that the two of us will be married in the tower question of God. The two of us will enter the ancient holy battlefield. Ancient holy battlefield was something that he had to enter, but he didn't know if Xianyuan Li'er would still be alive after entering. Moreover, he had to obtain that power from Xianyuan Li'er's body. Marriage was the best pretense. To be able to deceive the Xianyuan nationality would save him a lot of trouble. The Zhan's elder immediately said, I will return to 9 Gloomy Valley immediately. Zhan Wushuang pondered for a moment, then said, Tell my father, I might be returning home. Tell him to prepare the ancient holy artifact and spirit weapon. Zhan's elder nodded and said, Yes. Zhan Wushuang looked at Xianyuan Li'er and said, Junior Sister Li'er, I have been waiting for you here the entire time, and now you have finally come. This is the first time in thousands of years that this kind of situation has occurred. We have all stepped into the ancient holy battlefield at the same time, an immortal couple who wouldn't be jealous. I believe that this will become an ancient saying. Zhan Wushuang looked at Xianyuan Li'er's exceptional appearance, and in his heart, he was still a little unwilling to give up, and not willing to lose to Long Fei. No matter what, he was unwilling to lose. Xianyuan Li'er ignored him and walked to the front of the Saint Presbyter and bowed slightly. Disciple Xianyuan Li'er, Saint requests your guidance. Saint Presbyter slightly nodded and said, Sit down and cultivate. I will pass on everything I have to you. Ignoring them? Was he air in front of her? Zhan Wushuang clenched his teeth. His eyes fiercely stared and shouted, Teaching what? What should he impart? Those things of yours are garbage. Saint Presbyter acted as if he did not hear it. His disregard made Zhan Wushuang even more furious. Zhan Wushuang's eyes flashed with a fierce light. He shouted, Even you ignore me? You old thing, I have given you face, haven't I? You think I can't kill you just now when you beat me? Suddenly, Zhan Wushuang suddenly extended his hand, and a shield appeared in his hand. The Saint Elder frowned and said with a heavy tone, Zhan Wushuang, this is your last chance. If you fail to enter the ancient holy battlefield, you will not be able to. Do you want to challenge him now? The first floor had 10 chances. Zhan Wushuang had already lost 9 times, but he was not the least bit flustered. He even revealed an incomparably confident smile and said, I will kill you. In that instant, the god's shield in Zhan Wushuang's hand moved. Wang. A loud explosion resounded. Saint Presbyter's expression suddenly changed. He had never seen such powerful strength before. Zhan Wushuang laughed sinisterly. Tremble! But right at this moment, the tower question of God shook violently. Shua, the Saint Presbyter in the 100 layers of God's tower, disappeared into thin air. As the target disappeared, the power on the god's shield directly broke through the god's tower. Golden light overflowed from all directions as a strong god power surged out crazily. In the clouds, Zhan Wushuang's eyes swept the area. Flee? It was also at this time. The tower question of God's tower master shouted, Wushuang! A strong pressure instantly pressed down, binding Zhan Wushuang's entire body and crushing him with divine might. Owner of tower question of God's body also instantly fell down. Beside him was the Saint Presbyter. Calm down. The owner of tower question of God bellowed, Do you really think you can obtain power by doing this? Do you think you can break through the 100th level just by killing the saint? Can you mature a little? A single long fei can make you so agitated. How are you going to enter the ancient holy battlefield if your emotions are so unstable? You will only be cannon fodder if you enter. The owner of Tower Question of God had high expectations for Zhan Wushuang. He did not want Zhan Wushuang to be ruined before he could even enter the ancient holy battlefield. Xianyuan Li'er ignored him. The indifference of the Saint Presbyter. The reason behind all of this was ultimately because of Long Fei. Long Fei had become stronger. It had become extremely powerful, a strength that Zhan Wushuang was afraid of. Xianyuan Li'er's disregard caused him to instantly explode forth. After a few shouts, Zhan Wushuang's heart quickly calmed down, and his mood recovered. He bowed in apology and said, "Elder, I'm sorry. I was too reckless just now." The owner of Tower Question of God's tone recovered, and he said, "Don't think about anything else now. You just need to break through the 100th floor. You only have one last chance. I don't want to see you using a power that doesn't belong to you anymore. If not, you won't be recognized as someone who can break through the God's tower, and you won't get the God's power even more." "Understood," Zhan Wushuang said. "Disciple understands." Owner of Tower Question of God looked at Xianyuan Li'er and then said, "The two of you cultivate together. I hope that you can both break through the God's tower and bring honor to Chaos Realm." As for Long Fei, owner of Tower Question of God, looked at Zhan Wushuang. Xianyuan Li'er looked at owner of Tower Question of God. Then, "He is no longer people of the same world as you. You are destined to become gods, and he is destined to be immortal for his entire life." Tower Question of God was the only way to become a god other than using the divine tribulation hammer to condense divine sparks. And this road will forever be closed by Xiang Longfei. He would never be able to step into a Tower Question of God. The space between Xianyuan Li'er's brows tightened for a bit, and he secretly thought in his heart, "Big brother Long Fei, no matter what you are, no matter what I am, once I break through this place, I will go find you. I don't want to become a god. Big brother Long Fei, you have to wait for me." Cloud Sky Valley, Xianyuan Prefecture. On a cliff was carved two words, Xianyuan. The edge of the sword was sharp, and it moved like a dragon. It was completed in one breath, just like the notes of a god. Long Fei raised his head to look at the two words, Xianyuan, on the cliff, and faintly said in his heart, "How vast!" "Boss, this is Xianyuan Prefecture." Xianyuan Tribe. Long Fei and the rest of the 10 stood outside the valley. "Enter the valley!" Before he could finish, two Xianyuan tribesmen stopped Long Fei in his tracks and asked, "Who is it? How dare you trespass into the Cloud Sky Valley's territory?" The two of them wore golden armor. His body exuded an aura different from that of an ordinary martial artist. This aura contained traces of divine power. Even ordinary clansmen possessed divine power. Powerful. Long Fei slightly said, "I'm here to look for your patriarch." A Xianyuan disciple glanced at Long Fei and said, "Looking for the patriarch? Who are you? Why are you wasting time with him? Is our clan leader someone he can find whenever he wants? Brat, get the hell out of the Cloud Sky Valley's forbidden area. Or don't blame me for being rude. They are Xianyuan tribesmen, to despise the existence of everything." However, when he said that, Li Yuanba was displeased. "You're being impolite. Then your father will not hold back for now." Chapter 1583. Our boss is coming to propose a marriage. Chapter 1583. Our boss is coming to propose a marriage. The giant spirit axe trembled. Li Yuanba took a step forward. Boom! The innate divine strength in his body gave off a strong resonance. Coupled with his wild and powerful physique, it gave others a visual impact. It was really intrepid. The two Xianyuan nationality disciples trembled slightly, their hearts trembling, but they were not afraid because they were Xianyuan tribesmen. The two of them stepped forward at the same time. "You're being impolite?" "Humph, let's see how impolite you can be." The two of them released a strong sense of power from their bodies, and at the same time, they let out loud booms, the divine power sparkling faintly under their feet, becoming slightly stronger. At this moment, "Stop!" A voice came from the forest far away, and as the voice fell, a middle-aged man's figure seemed to superimpose like 1,000 layers of illusions, blocking the two disciples. "Why are you stopping?" "Sixth elder, they've come to the Cloud Sky Valley to behave atrociously." Shut up." Sixth elder Xianyuan Yu stared at them and shouted for his two disciples to stop. He then looked at Long Fei and politely smiled. "Young Master Long Lord, our clan leader has invited you." The two disciples were stunned. They were curious to know how the sixth elder could treat Long Fei with such respect. "Young Master Long Lord? Who can be called Young Master Long Lord?" Long Fei replied politely, "Please lead the way." Xianyuan Yu immediately made an inviting gesture and said, "Please." At the same time, he immediately transmitted his voice to a disciple, immediately sent a message to Zhan clan with the 1,000-mile sound transmission technique. "Tell them Long Fei is here." A disciple was surprised for a moment and lightly nodded his head. Long Fei did not know about any of these. Xianyuan nationality was in the Cloud Sky Valley, and there were heavenly dangers on both sides. This heavenly danger was also known as the Xianyuan Valley, and there was a thin path in the middle of the two sides of the valley. Both sides were as steep as knives. Apes and monkeys could not climb up, and birds could not fly over them. Moreover, with such a powerful airflow in the air, even if the powerhouse were to fly up, it would be difficult for him to control his body. This was a heavenly risk. Long Fei looked at the cliff on both sides and was secretly shocked. The 8 King Kong was equally shocked, especially Aoya. Her gaze never left the cliff on both sides. After a long while, she said, "The cliff on both sides was split open by a sword." Xianyuan Yu's eyes widened in shock. He looked at Aoya and said, "Lady's eyesight is quite good. This Xianyuan Canyon was indeed split open by our Xianyuan ancestor's sword." Li Yuanba was shocked. It was split apart by a sword. So fierce? Xianyuan Yu was slightly pleased with himself as he said, "Xianyuan ancestors' attainments in the way of the sword are indeed very high. This sword technique is also known as the Sky Shatter Sword." Slashing out with a sword strike that would shatter the heaven and earth, creating an aura that would destroy the heavens and the earth. In the past, our ancestors killed a devil here with one sword strike. As Xianyuan tribesman, this was their pride. The Xianyuan ancestor was incomparably powerful. However, countless years had passed, and right now, they could only praise their ancestor. However, they were unable to cultivate and comprehend the true meaning of the Sky Shatter Sword, nor could they release that kind of heaven-shattering sword, aura. Long Fei looked to his two sides, looked at the sky, and said slightly, "This was not even hacked by a sword, but a sword aura. Xianyuan nationality's master is truly amazing." Looking at the two sides, Long Fei seemed to have thought of something, and the peerless glory of that sword seemed to have appeared in his mind. That kind of aura that could shock the entire world, that kind of majestic and domineering might that could pierce the heavens circulated in Long Fei's mind, as if he was present when this sword slashed out. Long Fei walked to Aoya's side and said in a low voice, "Carefully comprehend it. There is some kind of powerful sword, intent, hidden on these two cliffs." Aoya looked at Long Fei, her gaze becoming tense. She thought that she was the only one who noticed it. She didn't think that Long Fei had discovered it too, and he had discovered it even more than her. Oya nodded slightly. Passing through this thin Xianyuan canyon, his field of vision suddenly widened, and he saw a huge immortal estate in front of him. Immortal clouds shrouded the sky, and mountains overlapped each other in the sky. It looked like a paradise. Moreover, its aura was not the least bit weaker than the Tower question of God. The most important point was that the surrounding spiritual energy was extremely dense, as though there was a spirit-gathering formation down there. Even Long Fei, who had his pubes shattered, could clearly feel it. The world of immortals is nothing special. Arhut said in shock. Xianyuan smiled and said, "Please wait here. I'll go inform the others." "There's no need to report. The patriarch is waiting at the Xianyuan Palace Hall." An elder walked over. He looked at Long Fei seriously and said to Xianyuan at the same time. He sent a voice transmission to Xianyuan asking, "Have you sent someone to inform the Zhan clan?" Xianyuan lightly nodded his head. That elder immediately laughed and said, "Young Master Long Lord, it's been a very long time since you last came here. This time you have to stay as long as you want." On the surface, Long Fei smiled slightly, but in his heart he muttered, "You make it sound like I really want to come often." The Xianyuan nationality had been hiding from the world. He had very little contact with the outside world, and very little contact with outsiders. Seeing Long Fei, 8 King Kong, Nangong Yen, and the others entering Xianyuan Prefecture, many Xianyuan tribesmen came out to watch, looking at them strangely. "He is the young Master Long Lord. The man who is still alive under fate's judgment. Is the person beside him 8 King Kong? I heard that they were able to summon the gods' suffering force, but I don't know if that's true or not. He looks just like an ordinary person. He's just an ordinary warrior. I didn't see anything different about him. Zhan Wushuang is more handsome." Many Xianyuan tribesmen started to discuss Long Fei's appearance. Li Yuanba said in a low voice, "Boss, you are truly famous. Even people here know about you." "Of course. Otherwise, how could he be our boss? It seems like there are people discussing us as well. Look, what about that girl over there? It's really pretty." Fat Menchen laughed despicably. The Black Knife said, "Fatty, be careful. She might break your third leg. Look at where you are right now. No one here is weak, and they should have all cultivated God's power. Their ancestors should have been deities, and they were deities who instigated the divine tribulation to condense divine sparks." Indeed, the aura of every single person in Xianyuan tribesman was very dense, and even the aura of a 3-year-old child carried a faint divine power. The Xianyuan clan was once a race of gods. It was just that now that their master had fallen, their divine powers had gradually disappeared. 10 minutes later, Long Fei and the other 10 walked to the Xianyuan Palace Hall. A few elders and elders, as well as Patriarch Xianyuan Xiong, sat in the hall. Xianyuan Xiong looked at Long Fei, and his eyes faintly tightened. He wanted to see through Long Fei as well, but he couldn't see anything. With a light smile, he said, "Little nephew Long Fei, you finally came to see Uncle Xianyuan." At this moment, one of the innermost elders said coldly, "Why did you bring so many people to the Xianyuan prefecture?" Li Yuanba laughed and said, "Our boss is here to propose." Chapter 1584, Left Slap, Right Slap. Chapter 1584, Left Slap, Right Slap. As soon as he finished, the entire hall suddenly became silent. Everyone was stunned. All eyes were on Long Fei. Li Yuanba laughed foolishly and said, "Ha ha ha. You must be scared. Boss, you really are mighty." The heavenly spirit touched Li Yuanba lightly and said, "The situation isn't right." Fat Men, Chen also looked at the people around him with a less friendly gaze. He slowly took half a step towards Long Fei. His first priority was to ensure Long Fei's safety. Li Yuanba scratched his head and said, "What's wrong? Look at how shocked they are. They should all be happy, not to mention our boss has come to propose marriage with them, right?" In Li Yuanba's world, Long Fei was the most handsome man in the world, and also the most eye-catching, most domineering, and most invincible. Whoever could marry Long Fei was truly a blessing from his previous life. However, Puchi, ha ha ha, ha ha ha, ha ha ha. The leading elder could not hold it in and took the lead to laugh out loud. He pointed at Long Fei and said, "You're here to propose marriage? Ha ha. You think you're qualified to come here and propose marriage with me? Ha ha ha. Brat, why don't you take a piss and look at yourself? Look at what you're doing. What qualifications do you have to come here and propose marriage?" I'm about to die from laughter. Long Fei, who do you think you are? To propose marriage? Our Xianyuan nationality does not have any sows. Even if we do have a sow, you do not even have the qualifications to marry the Xianyuan nationality sow. You really dare to think about it, to actually say it out loud? Many elders mocked. This time, Li Yuanba was unhappy. The god power on his body suddenly exploded. The giant spirit axe in his hands exposed a vicious light. He shouted loudly, "You guys ****, call my boss again to try." As soon as he finished, the giant spirit axe also shook. Boom, boom. The giant spirit axe landed on the ground and released a series of loud roars. It angrily swept across the whole area, and if anyone dared to mock Long Fei, he would really chop off with his axe. He wouldn't care so much. Kill one less. All the elders in the hall turned and looked at Li Yuanba. How many muscles do you have to dare act so atrociously here? Big fool, you. If you dare, try it. Let's see if you can leave this place alive. Xianyuan tribe's man had never been afraid of anyone before. All of their eyes were filled with anger. When Li Yuanba took action, they would also do the same. Moreover, he would not hold back. Xianyuan Xiong coughed and said, "Enough!" His voice sank. The entire hall quietened down, and Li Yuanba was pulled back by Long Fei. As long as Xianyuan Xiong did not express anything, it was fine. He was the head of the Xianyuan nationality. If he was laughing at him, it would be different. Long Fei took a step forward and said with a bland smile, "Uncle Xianyuan, Lear and I have been engaged since we were young. I have come to propose marriage. I hope Uncle Xian will agree." As soon as he finished, the clan elder immediately stood up and coldly stared at Long Fei. "Long Fei, you are a toad that wants to eat the swan meat. You must be crazy, right? Why don't you take a look at what you look like now? A stray dog. If it weren't for the fact that your ancestors had some relationship with our Xianyuan nationality, you wouldn't even have the right to stand here. Understand?" Huh. Before he could finish speaking, his eyes froze for a moment because Long Fei had suddenly disappeared. It disappeared. At this moment, crash. It was as if Long Fei came out from thin air as he gave her a slap on the face. With a heavy roar, he said, "Your father has given you face, right?" Pa! A slap on the face was incomparably loud. The elder was stunned, unable to react for a long time. He never thought that Long Fei would make a move here, and did not give him the slightest bit of face as Xianyuan nationality's great clan elder, and sent him flying with a slap. His old face was swollen. The 5 finger marks were clearly visible. The great clan elder's eyes burned with rage, instantly spitting out flames as he shouted, "Long Fei, dog, you actually dare to attack me?" Pa! Just as the 2 words dog came out of his mouth, Long Fei slapped him down once again. The great elder's left cheek slapped once again. It was incomparably loud. Both cheeks were red and swollen. Long Fei stared at the great clan elder coldly and said, "So what if I hit you? What can you do? Did I propose to you? Who do you think you are? What right do you have to call me your father? If it wasn't for your age, I would have killed you." Long Fei said in a gloomy tone. His voice carried a strong pressure. "I'm so unhappy." Based on Long Fei's personality in the past, she would have directly killed him. The 5 finger marks on the great elder's cheeks became red and swollen. This time, it was not fire in his eyes, but his entire body. The god power on his body also released a strong pressure towards Xiang Longfei. "This is too presumptuous. Today, I will make you disappear from this world." Rumble! The main hall shook. Divine energy resonated. Li Yuanba grinned and said, "Old man, you must be tired of living." The moment the giant spirit coffin on Li Yuanba's body moved, red light immediately flickered with power, as if he had entered berserk mode. The rest of the 8 King Kong also immediately moved. The strength in his body burst forth. For a time, they were at loggerheads. The smell of gunpowder was overwhelming. Long Fei was very calm, without even a hint of fear. His gaze was still unmoving while staring at the great clan elder. As long as he dared to make a move, Long Fei was confident in being able to instantly send him to hell. If even a divine-level powerhouse had died before, what was there to fear from a powerhouse who trained in divine power? Xianyuan Xiong's gaze darkened, and her voice became louder. She suddenly stood up and said, "Enough!" He was furious. Xianyuan Xiong stared at the great clan elder and apologized. "Xianyuan Lai, apologize." The great clan elder raised his eyes and stared at Xianyuan Xiong. "Xianyuan Xiong, could it be that something is wrong with your brain? It was him who beat me up, and he wants me to apologize to him?" He went berserk. The moment these words left his mouth, the faces of many elders in the hall slightly changed. Insulting the clan leader, Xianyuan Xiong clenched his fists, and a strong pressure erupted from his body. Boom! It directly crushed into Xianyuan Lai's sea of consciousness, causing him to instantly be unable to endure it, and his body to tremble. Xianyuan Xiong said one word at a time. "I told you to apologize." It was extremely thick, the aura of a divine-level powerhouse. With regards to the Xianyuan Lai of the semi-realistic realm, he simply could not resist. Xianyuan Lai was indeed unable to resist it, and his body constantly bent to the point of almost kneeling in front of Long Fei as he said solemnly, "Young Master Long Lord, I'm sorry." His voice was filled with rage, not an apology at all. However, that was enough. Once Xianyuan Xiong's imposing aura was released, Xianyuan Lai immediately let out a loud shout. He stared at Long Fei and said, "Brat, just you wait." Chapter 1585. Let's see who dares. Chapter 1585. Let's see who dares. The great elder flicked his sleeve and left the hall. Next, more than half of the elders in the hall retreated, while the other elders hesitated before retreating as well. Huff! Xianyuan Xiong exhaled a deep breath. His expression recovered to a slight smile as he looked at Long Fei and said, "Xiao Fei, the 2 of you follow me." This was the first time in many years that he had exploded with power. Moreover, the pressure it exuded was enough to suppress Xianyuan Lai, which was something that it would not have done in the past. Long Fei nodded and followed Xianyuan Xiong out, thinking to himself, there's something wrong with many people in Xianyuan nationality. Li Yuanba said in a low voice, "Boss, those 2 slaps felt so good." Long Fei glared at him. Xianyuan Xiong chuckled. It's the first time Xianyuan Lai has suffered so much. He won't let this matter go. Aoya replied, "You are the patriarch. Aren't you able to suppress him?" "Patriarch." Xian Yuan Xiong laughed bitterly. He shook his head and did not say anything more. A few minutes later, Xian Yuan Xiong brought Long Fei to the courtyard of his residence. The courtyard was very simple and crude. Moreover, what Long Fei found strange was that, as the leader of the clan, he didn't even have a servant. Xian Yuan Xiong quickly closed the door, pulled Long Fei's arm, and lowered his voice. Long Fei, quickly leave this place. Xian Yuan Lai will not let you off. Moreover, according to my calculations, Xian Yuan Lai will send someone to notify 9 secret warrior family, and you will not be able to escape then. All of you, hurry up and leave. The change happened too quickly. It was so fast that even Long Fei was a little unaccustomed to it. Long Fei was puzzled. Uncle Xian Yuan, you are the patriarch. Why are you afraid of a great elder? In the hall, it is indeed too much for me to beat someone up, but they don't even put you in their eyes. Li Yuanba said. Boss is right. If I were the patriarch, then I would slap them one by one, and these guys would be asking to be taken care of. I do not believe that I would not be able to suppress them. Very overbearing. Indeed, none of the elders in the palace held Xian Yuan Xiong in their eyes. Even Li Yuanba could tell that Xian Yuan Xiong was not an idiot. How could he not know? Xian Yuan Xiong said, let's talk about this later. Listen to me right now, and immediately leave Xianyuan Prefecture, as far away as possible, never come back. Huh. Long Fei was stunned. Xianyuan Xiong hesitated for half a second, looked at Long Fei, and continued, if it's possible, then I hope you can save my daughter. What happened to Lier? It was as if they had touched Long Fei's sensitive nerves. One had gone to the Yuanyang clan to beg Zhan Wushuang for his sake. He had never let Xianyuan Lier get injured again. Xianyuan Xiong said, Zhan Wushuang wants to borrow the inheritance power of the Xianyuan clan to undergo the heavenly tribulation, use the heavenly tribulation to refine his divine spark, and then enter the ancient holy battlefield. Lier is just his container, only his tool. Quick, quick, quick! This useless father of mine, push her into the fire pit. Xianyuan Xiong firmly grabbed onto Long Fei's arm and said, Long Fei, you are Lier's only hope right now. Leave this place quickly and take advantage of the fact that no one from the Zhan clan has arrived. He only found out about this later. In the beginning, he had never suspected Zhan Wushuang, nor did he suspect the Zhan clan's sudden approach. But ever since he had read in a family tree that the Xianyuan clan had inherited this powerful power, and this power originated from Emperor Xianyuan. This kind of power could help people overcome heavenly tribulation. Furthermore, it would not affect his training at all. Once they broke through the tower question of God, Zhan Wushuang would bring Xianyuan Lier to enter the ancient holy battlefield, and their power to undergo tribulation in the God battlefield would be even more extraordinary. The more powerful the celestial tribulation was, the more powerful the divine spark's power would be. Moreover, crossing tribulation in the ancient holy battlefield would certainly cause a huge commotion, and would even attract the attention of the main temple S. If that was the case, it could be said that Zhan Wushuang would soar into the sky, but Xianyuan Lier would only become a cripple. The current Xianyuan Xiong was regretting it every day, regretting letting his daughter enter the tower question of God. He shouldn't have let her get so close to Zhan Wushuang. The only hope he had left was for Xianyuan Lier to survive. Long Fei's heart tensed up, his fists tightened, and he shouted, Zhan Wushuang! The flames of fury burned. Xianyuan Xiong said, Long Fei, you are the only one who has been to the tower question of God. You can definitely save Lier. Long Fei nodded. Uncle Xiong, don't worry. I will definitely save Lier. Xianyuan Xiong had placed all his hope on Long Fei, and now he was going to use all his strength to protect Long Fei. He absolutely could not let anything go wrong with Long Fei. And then Xianyuan Xiong said, "Follow me, I will bring you out of the valley." At this moment, clang, with a loud noise, the door to the courtyard was kicked down. Xianyuan Lai rushed in with his men and sneered sinisterly, "You want to leave? None of you can leave without my permission." Xianyuan Lai's eyes spewed fire. He stared straight at Xianyuan Xiong. The aura on Xianyuan Xiong's body exploded as he heavily shouted, "Xianyuan Lai, you want a rebel? Humph! Xianyuan Xiong, I'm a rebel. What can you do to me?" If not for the fact that you had a relatively talented daughter, and the people of Zhan clan took a fancy to your daughter, do you think you would be qualified to be the patriarch of Xianyuan nationality? Xianyuan Lai sneered at the same time. He took out an order badge and said, "Xianyuan Xiong, listen up." The people from the Xianyuan nationality instantly kneeled on the ground. Xianyuan Xiong's face darkened. "Xianyuan token." Xianyuan Lai laughed complacently and said, "Not bad. To be able to recognize this is the Xianyuan token. Since you know of the Xianyuan token, then kneel down obediently for me." Xianyuan token, the order badge left behind by the master, the power level of the Grand Elder's pavilion. The Xianyuan token represented the highest authority in the Xianyuan nationality. Now that the Xianyuan token was in Xianyuan Lai's hands, he stood above the patriarch. If he did not kneel, it would be disrespectful, and the consequences would be extremely serious. Xianyuan Xiong had no choice but to kneel down. Xianyuan Lai laughed loudly. "Ha ha! Xianyuan Xiong, will you kneel to me one day? This kind of feeling, sure, is unpleasant. Ha ha ha!" He laughed complacently. Xianyuan Xiong said solemnly, "Xianyuan Lai, if you have something to say, just say it." "All right." Xianyuan Lai said coldly, "The Elder's Pavilion has decreed that the position of patriarch will be removed, and Xianyuan Lai will temporarily take over as the head of the Xianyuan nationality. Everything will be decided by Xianyuan Lai. Xianyuan Xiong is not allowed to interfere." "Ha ha! Xianyuan Xiong, you are no longer the clan leader." Xianyuan Xiong's gaze tensed up. He had thought that Xianyuan Lai would join hands with the elders to revoke his patriarch, but he had not expected it to happen so quickly. And then Xianyuan Lai stared coldly at Long Fei and said, "Brat, I told you to wait properly and slap me twice. I want to slap you back 200 times. Someone, come. Take them down." It was also at this time that Xianyuan Xiong yelled out, "Let's see who dares." Chapter 1586, Exiting the Mountain. Chapter 1586, Exiting the Mountain. I want to see who dares. With an angry roar, Xianyuan Xiong's divine might exploded forth once more. The entire yard shook slightly. It instantly crushed everything in its path. Xianyuan Lai's gaze darkened and said, "Xianyuan Xiong, you are no longer the clan leader. I am the one in charge here. Are you thinking of rebelling?" This sentence was originally said by Xianyuan Xiong, but now it was turn to say it. Xianyuan Xiong said, "He is my nephew. I will not allow anyone to touch him." He had to protect Long Fei. Protecting Long Fei meant that his daughter had another hope. Xianyuan Lai's eyes turned sinister. He laughed coldly and said, "Your nephew? Ha ha ha. You call him your nephew? Back then, when 9 secret warrior family cleansed Hellgate, why didn't you say that he was your nephew? At that time, you clearly knew what the Zhan clan was doing. Why didn't you inform Long Fei? Your nephew? Why do I feel so ridiculous?" Xianyuan Xiong's face darkened. Xianyuan Lai laughed. "Why aren't you talking? Long Fei, you still don't know?" He knew about everything that happened the night before Hell Gate met with the tragic end, but He had absolutely no intention to notify you, and he had even stopped Xian Yuan Lier. If I had notified him at that time, the Hell Gate wouldn't have become like this. Xian Yuan Lai laughed. He smiled at Long Fei, certain that he would be angry. However, Long Fei was not the least bit angry, and his gaze did not move at all. Xian Yuan Lai said, "Why aren't you angry at all? You have to know that you were once the young master of Hell Gate." Long Fei said indifferently, "Why should I be angry? Does the life and death of Hell Gate have anything to do with me? Hell Gate. He almost died in Hell Gate. If he had been the young master of the Hell Gate all along, he probably wouldn't even know how he died. If he had stayed in Hell Gate, he might really be dead now." Long Fei said, "I would have to thank Uncle Xian Yuan for not informing me back then. Otherwise, I would have died a long time ago." Xian Yuan Lai was stunned. He did not understand. Was this man stupid? Xian Yuan Xiong said slightly, "Long Fei, I was in the wrong at the time. I should have informed you." Long Fei said, "There's really no need. It's better if you don't notify me, else I won't be able to live past today." Long Fei was sincere. Xian Yuan Xiong could also tell. However, Xian Yuan Lai was very unhappy and said, "I don't care if you live or die. Long Fei, today I must take you down." Xian Yuan Xiong blocked in front of him and said, "Xian Yuan Lai, I want to see who dares to touch him." He felt guilty about the past, and now he had to make up for it. Xian Yuan Lai's eyes turned sinister. He laughed coldly. "Xian Yuan Xiong, you think that I can't do anything because you're a divine level cultivator? You'd better figure out who is the clan leader now. If you continue to be so stubborn, don't blame me for not thinking about our kinship." Xian Yuan Lai's voice was filled with killing intent, and the few elders around him were also staring at him like tigers stalking their prey. Deities were indeed terrifying, but this is the Xian Yuan nationality. The clan elders in the pavilion were all divine level experts. They were all much stronger than Xian Yuan Xiong. Xian Yuan Xiong responded with a cold laugh. "Xian Yuan Lai, when have you ever thought about the feelings of fellow clansmen? And when have you ever looked down on me? If you dare touch Long Fei today, I will definitely not be polite." His eyes were determined. Xian Yuan Lai's gaze darkened as he clenched the Xian Yuan token in his hands tightly. "Grand Elder." Boom. He gave the order. A black shadow instantly descended. "Rumble." Falling in front of Xian Yuan Xiong, without waiting for Xian Yuan Xiong's reaction, he slapped his face hard, shouted, "Xian Yuan Xiong, I'm so disappointed in you." Xian Yuan Xiong's body sank, and he almost fell to the ground. Looking at the old man in front of him, he shouted, "Master!" "Humph! I don't have a picky disciple like you." The old man disdained. He then stared at Long Fei and said, "I will give you two choices, or die now. You can either wait for the people from Zhan clan to come, then you can leave with them. There's no other choice." Xian Yuan Lai laughed complacently. Looking at Xian Yuan Xiong, whose face had fallen on the ground, he was extremely pleased with himself. Xian Yuan Xiong said, "Master, 9 secret warrior families' ambitions are too high, and they are using our Xian Yuan nationality and they are using the Xian Yuan nationality's power that was inherited from Lear to undergo the tribulation. We cannot become other people's pawns. Without waiting for Xian Yuan Xiong to finish speaking, the old man shouted, "Shut up!" With that voice, he pressed heavily onto Xian Yuan Xiong's sea of consciousness, causing Xian Yuan Xiong's body to tremble. At this moment, Long Fei said indifferently, "I choose to wait for the people from Zhan clan. Then I will leave with the people from Zhan clan." Xian Yuan Xiong's gaze froze for a moment as he anxiously replied, "Long Fei, you—" Long Fei said, "Uncle Xiong, the reason why I came to Xian Yuan nationality is to propose marriage, and the other reason is to look for the position of the 9 secret warrior family. Since they will come, then I will wait for them here." Xian Yuanlai laughed and said, "Brat, you made your choice." He laughed inwardly. Long Fei's strength was not simple. The 8 King Kong's gods' suffering force was not something to be reckoned with. If they were to fight, there would definitely be casualties. If Long Fei could calmly wait for the people from Zhan clan to come, then things would be much easier. The great clan elder said, "All right, then I won't touch you today, but Brat, I'm warning you, don't play any tricks. Otherwise, the consequences will be much worse than what you imagine." As soon as he finished, the grand elder flashed. Xian Yuanlai laughed complacently, looked at Xian Yuan Xiong, and said, "Just wait and see how the Zhan clan will take care of you. Someone, come. Watch this yard. Don't let even a fly fly out." Ha ha ha. Xian Yuan laughed loudly as he walked out of the courtyard. Xian Yuan Xiong looked at Long Fei and said, "Long Fei, you cannot stay here. You have killed 9 Zhan clan grand elders. The Zhan clan will definitely not let you off this time." Long Fei laughed. "It's me who will not let him go." Xian Yuan Li was in grave danger at the tower question of God. But now, Long Fei's only thought of way to save Xian Yuan Li was to surround Wei and save Zhao, force the 9 secret warrior family to a dead end, and make Zhan Wushuang appear. Kill. This naturally resolved Xian Yuan Li's crisis. War House. I'll wait for you here. Long Fei smiled slightly. He was really afraid that the powerhouse would not come. Li Yuanba and the other King Kong both laughed. All right. Send 1,000 Li sound transmission to Xian Yuanlai. Tell him to stop looking at Long Fei. I will bring my men there immediately." Zhan Tiantu laughed excitedly. At this moment, an old man with white hair walked out, looked at Zhan Tiantu, and asked, "Did you find Long Fei, that brat? Ancestors of Zhan's." Chapter 1587. This guy makes me sick. Chapter 1587. This guy makes me sick. Xian Yuanlai's courtyard. An elder walked into the courtyard with a smile and said, "First elder, patriarch." Hearing the word patriarch, Xian Yuanlai could not help but let out a proud smile. He had worked hard for this position for so many years. Now he had achieved his dream, and he had finally stepped on Xian Yuan Xiong. In Xian Yuanlai's heart, this position should originally belong to him. If Xian Yuan Xiong didn't have a good daughter, how could it possibly be Xian Yuan Xiong's turn? Xian Yuan Li. I must not go back to the Xian Yuan nationality. She was Xian Yuan Xiong's last trump card. If she suddenly came back after breaking through the limit of the god's tower, then he definitely wouldn't be able to keep his position as the patriarch. Xian Yuanlai asked, "What's the matter?" The elder answered, "I just received a 10,000 Li sound transmission. Zhan Tiantu has already sent someone over and told us to stall Long Fei." "All right." Hearing this news, Xian Yuanlai's eyes flashed. He was extremely excited and muttered, "As long as you hug the battle house tightly, you don't have to worry about anything else." Xian Yuan Xiong, "This time I will definitely trample you to death." Ha ha ha. Xian Yuanlai laughed complacently. Inside Xian Yuan Xiong's courtyard, he didn't understand Long Fei's choice. He was still constantly thinking of a way to send him out. However, Li Yuanba said with an honest smile, "Uncle Xian Yuan, the reason why boss is here is to propose marriage, and the second is to find out the location of 9 secret warrior family." Xian Yuan Xiong asked doubtfully, "What do you want to know the location of the 9 secret warrior family for?" The 9 secret warrior family was extremely secretive. It was extremely difficult to find. However, but Xian Yuan nationality was very clear about the exact location of the 9 secret warrior family. Long Fei laughed blandly. 2 words, revenge. Xianyuan Xiong was stunned. Long Fei said, "Uncle, don't worry." Xianyuan Xiong looked at Long Fei. That calm gaze of his calmed the nervousness in his heart. After being stunned for a few seconds, Xianyuan Xiong said, "Nine Secret Warrior family is much more powerful than you can imagine." The truly terrifying existences of the 9 Secret Warrior family were not them, but the powerhouse who had condensed his own divine spark. They were the true terrifying existences. Also, the 9 Secret Borders has an inexhaustible supply of power. With your current strength, it is difficult for you to resist. Xianyuan Xiong understood Zhan Clan better than Long Fei. Understand the 9 Secret Borders. The Zhan Clan's strength was not as simple as 9 Grand Elders. Those old freaks were the true terrifying existences. Long Fei said, "No matter how powerful he is, I will still trample over him." The change in the second stage of the main artifact. He even had over 1,000 ancient spiritual artifact and ancestors of Zhan's. As long as you dare to come up with a stick to send you to heaven. Long Fei was fearless. Long Fei changed the topic as he looked at Xianyuan Xiong. "Uncle, how did the one-line heaven in Xianyuan Valley form? I feel that there's some kind of profound martial arts hidden inside." Xianyuan Xiong trembled and said, "That was slashed out by our Xianyuan nationality's soaring master, rumored to be hiding a sword technique. One move can make the god-slaughtering sword. But," Xianyuan Xiong laughed bitterly and said, "ever since our Xianyuan tribe's man ascended to master, no one has been able to comprehend any sword techniques from it." Long Fei thought, "Seems like even Xianyuan Xiong does not know that the one-line heaven was not hacked out by a sword, but by a sword aura." And then Long Fei said, "Uncle, can you let us go to heaven?" Aoya looked at Long Fei. Her mind was full of the cliffs on both sides, as if they had been cut. However, she could not comprehend anything. What could she comprehend just from the 2 sides of the cliff and the grand and imposing aura? Xianyuan Xiong said, "All right, although I am not the clan leader now, I still have this bit of authority." And then Xianyuan Xiong walked out of the courtyard. He was immediately stopped by 2 disciples. "Clan leader, you cannot leave this place." "What clan leader?" "He's no longer the clan leader." "Xianyuan Xiong, you can't leave this courtyard." Not waiting for him to finish, Xianyuan Xiong's eyes stared wide open. With a slap, he smashed him to the ground. "You dare talk to me like that? With just you? Can you stop me?" Another disciple broke out in a cold sweat. This was completely different from the Xianyuan Xiong from before. Xianyuan Xiong ignored the disciples who were sprawled on the ground like dead dogs and led Long Fei towards the Heavens Line cave. "Quick, quick, go inform the patriarch. Tell him that Xianyuan Xiong is escaping." Long Fei, the Sky Shatter sword did not have any determination, nor did it have any specific sword technique. It seems to have nothing, only a thread of the sky from this sword strike. It's too difficult to comprehend a sword art from within. Xianyuan Xiong brought Long Fei and walked to the Lime Canyon, looking at the cliffs on both sides. He couldn't help but sigh in his heart about how the master had done it. He had comprehended it back in the gorge, but for a month his head was full of fog, and he didn't have a clue. Long Fei did not say anything. He looked at the cliff on both sides and was shocked once again. This sword chi is truly powerful. If the sword chi is so strong, then this sword chi technique. God slaughtering. This move can really kill a god. Aoya confidently looked at every single place. The sword intent in her mind seemed to be burning. Xianyuan Xiong looked in the direction of the sky's exit, and his heart tightened. He said in a low voice, Long Fei, there's only a little way out of the valley right now. Humph. Xianyuan Xiong, I long since knew that you knew how to run. Boom. Boom. There were several explosive sounds as golden rays of light flashed and blocked the entire canyon. The golden light was so dazzling that it was unable to open. Xianyuan Golden Light Array? Xianyuan Xiong's expression changed as he shouted, Xianyuan Lai, what do you want to do? The Xianyuan Golden Light Array can only be used in times of crisis. It's extremely important to the Xianyuan nationality. You. Humph. Xianyuan Lai coldly snorted and said, I am now the patriarch and can do whatever I want. What qualifications do you have to control me? Huh. Xianyuan Xiong, let me give you a word of advice. Scram and get the hell back. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. The Battle family allowed him to stall Long Fei and could not let him leave. He would definitely not let Long Fei leave. His current backer was Zhan family. This matter must be handled well. Xianyuan Xiong's eyes became sinister as he said, What if I don't return? Ha! The disciples of the Golden Array trembled as they moved the golden shields in their hands. The golden light was even more dazzling than before, causing them to be unable to open their eyes. Even their brains had sunk into chaos. Brainwave interference. Xianyuan Lai laughed coldly and said, You can try. Li Yuanba muttered, Boss, do you want to make a move? This guy is really annoying. Chapter 1588, God's Slaughtering Sword. Chapter 1588, God's Slaughtering Sword. Li Yuanba was unhappy. If he was unhappy, he wanted to make a move. Long Fei shook his head slightly. He walked forward and faintly smiled as he said, Zhan clan's intention should be for you to not let us out, right? Xianyuan Lai looked at Long Fei with contempt, and a painful expression appeared on his face. He firmly remembered those 2 slaps of grudges in his heart. He sneered, That's right. Since you know, then scram back. Li Yuanba could not bear to listen any longer. He shouted, Why don't you try talking to my boss with this kind of tone, and see if I can't kill you? His aura fluctuated, releasing his powerful and pure energy. The giant spirit coffin on his back started to tremble, staring straight at Xianyuan Lai with anger in its eyes. A strong sense of oppression. Xianyuan Lai's mind slightly shivered, and his body couldn't help but tremble. Li Yuanba's aura was extremely intrepid. Long Fei smiled faintly and said, Don't scare people. The Xianyuan nationality, right? I just want to take a look at the scenery here and experience the beauty of your Xianyuan nationality. Is that all right? I promise I won't take a step out of Xianyuan Prefecture. Long Fei said indifferently, He won't go out if you let him out. He would wait here for the War's family. It was just that. He was extremely interested in this Sky Shatter sword and wanted to know what sword moves were behind this sword. Xianyuan Lai looked at Long Fei, then at 8 King Kong, and thought that if they really fought, even if he did not lose, he would have to pay the price. He was the one who had used the Xianyuan Golden Light Array to scare Xianyuan Xiong. If he used it, it would definitely attract the Elder Pavilion's attention. Immediately, Xianyuan Lai said, How do I know if what you said is true? Long Fei looked at Li Yuanba, Xianyuan Xiong, and the others. Uncle, Yuanba, you guys go back first. Oya, stay. Li Yuanba immediately became worried and said, Boss. The other King Kong also started to worry for Long Fei. Long Fei laughed. Who can do anything to me? Wait for me at Uncle's place. Go. Xianyuan Xiong exhaled a breath of relief in his heart. He wanted to persuade Long Fei to give up. Moreover, this sword intent was originally created by the Xianyuan tribe's man, so outsiders would not be able to comprehend it. However, In the end, he didn't say it out loud. Xian Yuan Lai watched Xian Yuan Xiong and the 7 King Kongs leave, and said to Long Fei faintly, "Long Fei, you better behave yourself, as you cannot leave this place." Long Fei smiled, but did not reply. Not long after, Xian Yuan Lai left with the golden array. The world was suddenly quiet. Long Fei looked at Aoya and asked, "Did you manage to comprehend anything?" Aoya shook her head. "No, it is too profound. It has already exceeded my understanding." Long Fei held her hand and gently said, "Don't be in such a rush. Take your time. We have plenty of time." Aoya looked at Long Fei, her face full of happiness as she felt the warmth from Long Fei's palm. Then, Aoya sat cross-legged. The aura of sword intent around her body surged. Sword spirits surged through the void, like spirit bodies descending into every corner of the sky. The sword intent, absorbed by the sword spirit, gushed into his mind. This was a unique cultivation method that belonged to the Sword Force King Kong. Long Fei, on the other hand, was walking back and forth in the canyon, occasionally looking into the distance and occasionally turning his head back to look. What are they doing in the canyon?" Xian Yuan Lai asked. "I don't know. But from the looks of it, they seem to be training." Xian Yuan Yu suddenly thought of something and said, "Patriarch, when I brought them into the valley, I told them about the legends of the Sky Shatter Sword. The two of them couldn't have wanted the true essence of the other Sky Shatter Sword, right?" Silence. 3 seconds later. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Everyone laughed. Xian Yuan Lai laughed, comprehending the true meaning of Sky Shatter Sword. Ha ha ha. Just with them? This is simply too funny. None of us in the Xianyuan nationality have comprehended the true meaning of the Sky Shatter Sword, and the two of them want to comprehend as well. Why don't you take a look at what you are? Sky Shatter Sword is just a legend of the Xianyuan nationality. I suspect that there is no such sword technique. This is so funny. Millions of years. Even the Xianyuan tribe's man herself had no choice but to doubt the existence of the Sky Shatter Sword, because no one had ever been able to comprehend the sword style of the Sky Shatter Sword before. That was even more impossible. After laughing for a long time, Xian Yuan Lai faintly said, "I don't care what he comprehends. In short, I cannot let him out. The Zhan clan will need 3 days to travel to this place. Before the Zhan clan powerhouse arrives, you must definitely look after them." Xian Yuan Lai said, heavily. Long Fei was now his trump card to hold Zhan clan tightly. It was his bargaining chip that had trampled Xian Yuan Xiong to death. The Jedi couldn't let this go easily. Everyone shouted in unison, "Yes, sir." Beneath the stars, Long Fei looked up at the sky. A straight line was like a galaxy. He had never seen the sky like this before. It was very special, and he felt a strange feeling surging up within his heart. Aoya gently leaned against Long Fei's shoulder and held Long Fei's arm. Her heart was like a dream, and she had never been this relaxed before. The two of them snuggled up to each other, quietly, neither of them speaking. At this moment, Long Fei was thinking about Jojo, about the leopard girl, about Lu Luoshi, about thousands of things. He was thinking about the dragon ancestor, about the brothers in the Long family. The level 10 gods martial sect was still lacking. This was a hurdle that had to be broken through by the divine level. Long Fei silently said in his heart, "Wait for me. I will definitely bring you all to this world as soon as possible." Suddenly, a meteor streaked past, from one end of the sky to the other. Long Fei's eyes suddenly moved. Aoya seemed to have sensed something as the two of them looked at each other. Meteor, sword intent. Instantly, at the same time, the two of them entered the space where the sword intent resided. Long Fei turned his right hand over, and the sword of destroy appeared in his hand. Next, step by step, the sword intent began to dance about. As the flame flickered, the sword intent surrounded the body like rays of light. This feeling was very different. This was a feeling of sword intent that Long Fei had never experienced before. It was as if he was above everything else, as if he was looking from the perspective of God. 3 days passed quickly. In the evening, when the 5 members of the Zhan clan arrived outside the Cloud Sky Valley, a white-haired old man's eyes lit up. He smiled and said, "Xianyuan Prefecture. It's been a long time since I've been here." And then the old man asked, "Are the betrothal gifts ready? I will arrange Wu Shuang's marriage properly. As for Long Fei, I want to play slowly. Do you know the consequences of refusing me? Do you know the consequences of refusing me?" Wu. The welcome horn sounded. The welcoming party on both sides of the valley was over 100 meters long. Over 300 hands raised their horns, blowing it with all their strength, just like a soldier on a battlefield. Powerful and extraordinary. The decorations were exquisite and gorgeous, as if it was the new year. Xianyuan Lai stood at the forefront with a face full of smiles, and silently thought in his heart, "Finally here we come. Ha ha ha. It's finally here." The 5 Zhans, elder, stepped into the Cloud Sky Valley. Xianyuan Lai was the first to welcome them, saying, "Welcome, honorable guest of Zhan clan." The white-haired old man's face was ice cold, not a single trace of happiness because of the Xianyuan nationality's welcoming ceremony. As he watched Xianyuan Lai walk over, he said coldly, "After so many years, there's still not even a single change to Xianyuan Prefecture." His voice was filled with contempt. Xianyuan Lai was startled, then immediately smiled apologetically. "An elder came to Xianyuan Prefecture before?" The letter slightly said, "I have." At that time, the Xianyuan nationality was just like this. I never thought that it would still be the same after so many years. And then he gazed at a faraway, innate valley and said, "A first-rate sky canyon was split open by your master Xianyuan. It contains an incomparably profound sword technique." Xianyuan nationality leader, I want to know if anyone in your Xianyuan tribesman has managed to comprehend the true meaning of this sword technique after so many years. He asked, even though he already knew the answer, was humiliating the Xianyuan nationality. Xianyuan nationality and 9 secret warrior family were families of the same rank at that time. They both came out of divine level powerhouse, but after that, their battle homes became weaker and weaker as the master continued to soar. But the ancestors of Zhan's was different. After entering the ancient holy battlefield and entering the divinity, although he died in the end, he found a secret world for the Zhan clan. He kept all the souls of the divine level powerhouse in the secret world. Even more so, it was the colossal dragon. It was also because of these families that they were getting stronger and stronger, while the Xianyuan nationality was getting weaker and weaker. Xianyuan Lai smiled apologetically and said, "No, he." The battle letter sneered and said, "I told you at that time that the Sky Shatter Sword's teleportation was just a conversation story. It is impossible for your Xianyuan master to comprehend such a profound sword technique while he is in the midst of ascension. What do you mean god-slaying? You can't even kill a ghost, yet you want to kill a god." Xianyuan nationality leader, do you think I'm right? The battle letter turned to look at Xianyuan Lai. He was humiliating master. Even a fool would be able to hear it, no matter how stupid the surrounding elders were. No one dared to refute, because battle letter's aura was extremely rich in gold light. He was a divine level powerhouse, a true divine level powerhouse who had comprehended and condensed his own divine spark. Xian Yuan Lai laughed. Elder is right. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. The letter laughed. The 4 Zhan's elder S behind him also began laughing loudly. Xian Yuan Lai also started to smile apologetically, and the surrounding elders also started to laugh along. How could he laugh while humiliating the Xian Yuan nationality? In his battle confidence, he sneered and thought, Xian Yuan nationality has become a dog walker. This was because the Zhan clan was so powerful. The battle letter laughed lightly and said, let's go, bring us to see that brat Xian Yuan Xiong and Long Fei. Sky Shatter Sword? Ha ha ha. It's just a joke. The letter laughed again, looking at the cliffs on either side of the canyon, at the line of sky above. What he was laughing at was not this sword technique, but the Xian Yuan nationality that had existed for millions of years. He couldn't even comprehend something from the master in millions of years. He was just a bunch of trash. Xian Yuan Lai immediately led the way. So what if they were laughed at? So what if his family had been humiliated? What he wanted to do was to stomp on Xian Yuan Xiong, and he needed to borrow the Zhan clan's strength. Even if the war letter was to make him eat shit, he probably wouldn't hesitate at all. Then again, Xian Yuan nationality had long ago stopped being on equal footing with the battle family. They were not on the same level at all. Just the dense golden light on the battle letter was able to crush the entire Xian Yuan nationality, even if he was displeased. So what? This world was the world of the powerhouse. Weak. No status at all. Half an hour later, Xian Yuan Lai and battle letter came outside Xian Yuan Xiong's courtyard. At this moment, 8 King Kong, Long Fei, Nan Gongyan, and Xian Yuan Xiong were in the courtyard. Xian Yuan Lai walked into the courtyard with a pleased sneer on his face when he saw Xian Yuan Xiong. He shouted, Xian Yuan Xiong, why aren't you bowing when you see Zhan's elder? Xian Yuan Xiong said, Xian Yuan Lai, are you used to being a dog? Even if Zhan Tianta comes, you don't have the qualifications to get us to salute him. As his patriarch, you actually saluted to an outsider? You sure are giving the Xian Yuan nationality face. Xian Yuan Lai's gaze turned cold as he said, you're not the one who should teach me a lesson for what I'm doing. The battle letter looked at Long Fei first, and its gaze turned cold. Then it looked at Xian Yuan Xiong and said indifferently, the reason I'm here today is for Wu Shuang's marriage. Take out the betrothal gift. And then a Zhan's elder took out the betrothal gift that was prepared by the space ring. 3-sword holy artifact. There was also a pile of soul treasures. A phoenix with a red crown. Very delicate, but to the Xian Yuan nationality, these betrothal gifts were too shabby and could not even enter his eyes. Xian Yuan Xiong didn't even look at it and said, unfortunately, before you all, I had already promised Long Fei that since he was young, he and Li Lier have been engaged. Once Lier comes out from the God's Tower, they will be married. The key point, what Lier likes is Long Fei. As her father, I should think about her happiness. Elder Zhan, it's better for you to bring back those precious betrothal gifts with you, since those things are really too precious. I'm almost scared to death. Xian Yuan Xiong said coldly, how dare you? A Zhan's elder was instantly angered and shouted, you dare to talk to our clan elders in such a manner? Xian Yuan Xiong, are you sick of living? The war letter slightly waved his hand, signaling for the elder to stop. He looked at Xian Yuan Xiong and said, you don't think that the betrothal gift is heavy enough, right? Immediately, the battle letter idea took out a long and thin sword from the space ring and said, I heard that your daughter likes to use swords, so this holy bone sword should be heavy enough, right? A golden light flashed. This was an extremely powerful divine sword made from the Yellow Springs holy bone. The entire courtyard was filled with the Yellow Springs sword intent, which was as sinister as the descent of hell. Is this good enough? The letter of war continued to speak. If it wasn't for Zhan Wushuang, he definitely wouldn't have done such a thing. Why should I give Xianyuan nationality face? Xianyuan Lai's gaze tensed up. If Xianyuan Xiong agreed, the battle family would definitely give their all to support Xianyuan Xiong. They started to worry, secretly. Xianyuan Xiong smiled slightly and said, Elder Zhan, many thanks for your good intentions. Please go back and tell Wushuang that my daughter really doesn't like him. Even if you give the entire Chaos Realm to me, my daughter still wouldn't choose him. Suddenly, Zhan Xian's gaze chilled as he whispered, Do you know the consequences of rejecting me? Chapter 1590, You will dig up. Chapter 1590, You will dig up. His voice was cold and filled with incredible pressure. The entire courtyard was being pressured by his aura, and Xianyuan Xiong's mind was trembling. Xianyuan Xiong's cultivation was at the divine level. However, he was a fused divine spark, and this divine spark had been given to him by the Zhan clan. The divine level cultivation obtained by the blend FO Godhead was not on the same level as the person who condensed the divine spark from his tribulation, not to mention the peak powerhouse Zhan Xian. They were both at the deity level. Xianyuan Xiong simply could not resist it. This was the difference between fusing with the divine spark he himself had condensed. Reject me? Zhan Xian's voice became gloomy again as he stared coldly at Xianyuan Xiong. Do you know what the consequences are? Sweat rolled down Xianyuan Xiong's forehead. His entire body was drenched in a few seconds, and his body couldn't help but start trembling. At this moment, he didn't even have the courage to look directly at the war letter. The cold eyes were terrible. Just when he was about to speak, Wham! A sword chime sounded. A sword fell in front of battle letter. Long Fei's body slightly moved and said, It's just a Yellow Springs holy bone sword. How can you take out a betrothal gift like that? They say that the Zhan clan is strong, that the Zhan clan is rich, and that they have countless soul treasures. But now, it seems that they are too stingy, no? The aura of the war letter suddenly retracted. As he stared at the sword in front of him, his gaze tightened. Azura sword. You have a good eye. Long Fei grinned and smiled faintly. This was the Azura sword that he had revealed after killing the Death Shura. Long Fei laughed. Even if you have a broken sword, you still want to propose marriage? Don't you feel shabby? The war letter's expression changed. Indeed, if he wanted to compete in Azura sword, the holy bone sword he brought with him was indeed a bit shabby. The war letter smiled, looked at Long Fei, and said, This is your betrothal gift. Are you here to propose as well? The battle letter looked at Long Fei without moving. Long Fei said, Is that not possible? Do I only need you to come and propose marriage? Can I come? Battle Channel, are you sure you want to steal Zhan Wushuang's woman? Long Fei said, I'm sure. What's wrong? War letter's gaze turned towards Xianyuan Xiong and asked, What is your choice? Xianyuan Xiong tried his best to control his own aura and calm down. Just as he was about to speak, the war letter suddenly reminded him, You better think carefully before you speak, because your decision will determine the fate of Xianyuan nationality. A strong sense of oppression struck him. Xianyuan Xiong's gaze darkened. Xianyuan Lai's body also shook slightly and immediately said, What is there to think about? Xianyuan Li heir and young Master Wushuang is a match made in heaven. There's no need to choose at all. Xianyuan Lai was very worried. He was worried that he would suffer too. The letter glared at him and said coldly, Did I allow you to speak? Xian Yuan Lai immediately lowered his head, not daring to say another word. On one side was his daughter, and on the other was the entire Xianyuan nationality. Xianyuan Xiong had a hard choice in his heart. The power of the war letter could really massacre the entire Xianyuan nationality. At this moment, many elders and disciples of Xianyuan nationality were looking at Xianyuan Xiong. Their hearts were filled with anxiety, as if they were standing on the edge of a cliff, in a battle of life or death. At this moment, Long Fei laughed blandly. You came to propose on behalf of Zhan Wushuang, and I am also here to propose. How about we use the most traditional method to settle this problem? The battle letter looked at Xiang Longfei and asked, What's the most traditional way? Long Fei said, It's very simple. Let's compete in martial arts. Xianyuan Xiong was already on the tiger's back, unable to get down. He couldn't make a decision. The war letter was stunned for a moment before it sneered. The four Zhans, elder, beside him immediately laughed loudly. Ha ha ha! Compete with us. Kid, who do you think you are? Are you worthy? Are you worthy of fighting with our young lord? What qualifications do you have? Long Fei, you are just a dying ant. You think you can fight with our young master? The four elders laughed loudly. Li Yuanba and the 8 King Kong were both displeased. They wanted to rush up and attack, but were stopped by Long Fei. Long Fei said with a slight smile, I'm just asking you, do you dare? His gaze stared at the war letter. Fighting spirit ignited. Xianyuan Xiong's heart tensed up. He sent a sound transmission to Long Fei and said, Long Fei, you are not their opponent. Don't be rash. Zhan Xian's cultivation was unfathomable. Chaos Realm had never lost before. His cultivation was also above Chaos Realm. So no one could beat him, this kind of superpower house. Martial arts competition? How unwise. Xianyuan Lai and the others started to get excited. This brat is really stupid. He actually competed with the Zhan clan's people. But this is better. If that's the case, Xianyuan Xiong has no choice. Ha ha! Brat, you really are a pig. The battle letter looked at Long Fei and said, You want to compete with us? Long Fei said, If you say it's satisfying, do you dare? The war letter wanted to laugh, but no one had ever dared to challenge him. He said lightly, Looks like I haven't come out for all these years. Someone has already forgotten who I am. Kid, I agree to your request. Tell me, how do you want to compete? Long Fei said, Very simple. 3 rounds, 2 wins, 3 representatives from each faction. Of course, you can also fight. Battle channel, sure. And if you lose? Long Fei said, I'll make way for you. I won't ask Uncle Xianyuan for marriage. Zhan Xian sneered and said, Is that all? Long Fei asked, Then what else do you want? Battle channel, your life? Li Yuanba immediately shouted out, Old man, try saying it again. He was just as fearless as he was fearless. Li Yuanba did not know what to respect about this old man. As long as there was hostility towards Long Fei, he would be unhappy no matter if it was a god or a ghost. Long Fei smiled slightly and said, Sure, but what if you lose? The letter was stunned as it said, I lost. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. A few Zhan's elder laughed again. The letter smiled and said, If I lose, how will you deal with it? Is that okay with you? Lose? He had never lost in his life. It was even more impossible now. Long Fei said, Since you say so, then you should kowtow 3 times an apology to Uncle Xianyuan. Kid, little bastard. One more word. Zhan's elder was instantly angered. Her eyes were burning with rage, and she was extremely aggressive. Long Fei laughed. He said it himself, so it's convenient for me to punish him. Is that not okay? If that doesn't work, then let's change it. so that I can slap you 3 times." A few Jean's elder s were about to get angry again. However, the battle letter stopped them and looked at Long Fei coldly as he said, "Long Fei, you will die a miserable death. You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.